Everybody stand and let's do the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So on the approval of the agenda, everybody, this is a business meeting, so there was, originally there was no public comment, but since we got a bunch of new faces and people want to talk about it, after the plan of how we're going to fix our predicament is presented to us, then we can have public comment if you'd like. So you can each have 3 minutes. And does that sound good? Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. Okay.
And when they vote, they would be approving that.
Okay, so do I hear a motion?
I make the motion to approve the agenda with the amendment. Can you hear me now? A little bit. I made the motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of adding a public comment period after the discussion.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. So, department reports. Anybody got anything on department reports? I know we're going to them. Good deal.
Last time we talked, I don't know if Greg's here or not, I'll ask you, we talked about we had 2 police positions that were kind of in limbo that we were working through the hiring process with. Do we know where we stand at with that right now?
There's, Greg, are you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on up.
As far as those 2 positions, we actually have conditional offers out for both of those spots. We advised the candidates that we're in a pause right now. One of the problems that I've got is one of the guys has already turned in a notice though.
Just wanted to see where that was.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll fix that.
hopefully.
Anything else? All right. First on the agenda is the town manager search with Lee Worsley.
All right, Mr. Mayor and members of the board, Lee Worsley with Central Pines Regional Council, and glad to be back with you this evening. Elena Keegan, our local government services director, is here as well. Just a quick recap. A few weeks ago, we were before you to kick off the search for your new permanent town manager. And during that conversation, you all gave us some feedback on a candidate profile. You also gave us feedback on compensation and benefits for the position, and we talked about a few other items as well. We've gone back and sent to you during the last week a draft recruitment brochure for the position. This recruitment brochure will be used to advertise the position. We will also use language in that brochure in other ways that we advertise the position, whether it's the standard job ad that you would see like at the League of Municipalities or other job sites, and crafting emails to directly talk to potential candidates. The other thing that is before you for conversation this evening is the evaluation matrix. The evaluation matrix is taken directly from your candidate profile, where we actually assign points or assign a way to objectively evaluate your candidates as they begin to come in. We'll use that evaluation matrix to then come to you when we're ready with your top candidates for you all to discuss and make decisions on who you want to invite for interviews. So this evening, we really have only 2 objectives. First objective is to get comments on anything you'd like to see changed in the recruitment brochure. And then secondly, any comments that you have on the evaluation matrix. And after we do that, if everything goes well this evening, we will be ready to begin advertising. So Elena, I think that's everything. All right, so happy to see if you have any questions or anything you need on the brochure first, and then we can move to the matrix.
Okay, anybody have any questions? I think it looked good, pretty good. Looks like we all thought it was good.
Okay. Did the in the brochure, I know you all wanted some tweaks and things. Did we capture what you're looking for in a candidate accurately and emphasizing the items that you wanted us to emphasize? Just want to double check on that.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
feel like it looked good.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right. We'll move on to the evaluation matrix. So it's just a spreadsheet where we will enter candidates as they apply. You will ultimately get this with the candidate packets when we're ready to begin talking about potential candidates. And just to walk you through this, what it does is it lists in each column those major attributes that you're looking for in a candidate. And we are just objectively saying, yes, they have it, no, they don't have it. Now, granted, some of these are going to be a little bit of a judgment call, right, based on what they may list in a resume or they don't list in a resume. We'll really stress to candidates, they need to make sure they represent themselves accurately and appropriately in a cover letter and a resume. But what we're trying to do is to evenly weigh out the things that you really emphasize that are like must-haves, and then things that are like, these would be sort of pluses, right, if these individuals have this. And then they'll come out with a score. And again, the score is not, it's just a way to for us to help you all organize your candidates, right? In a perfect world, you'd say, oh, top 5 scores is going to be who we interview. But as we talk more about the individual candidates and what you need, obviously there may be some changes in that, but that'll help you organize your thoughts and allow us to really focus in on those really top-tier candidates that you want to look at. And again, I just want to emphasize, anybody that applies will be listed on this, whether they meet minimum qualifications or not. One of the things we believe in is absolute transparency. We want you to be able to see every single application, whether they are number 1 or if they are at the bottom. And then that way you can see the whole field and make the decisions you need to make.
So on this matrix, what makes up the bonus points?
That's a great question. So the bonus points are some of those extras that you like. These are the preferred, right? These are the pluses, somebody that would really distinguish themselves. So somebody who has a master's, somebody who has municipal finance experience, somebody who has an ICMA credentialed management designation, somebody who has 10 years or more experience. Each of those would get them a bonus point because as we heard from you, those really rose to the top. So we've got our minimums, but if we have candidates that have the minimum and these, then they're sort of rising above. So each of those points would be added at the end as bonus points.
Anything else? Okey-doke. Thank you so much. Looks like we're on the road. Ready?
All right. So in your schedule, we had that we would possibly come back at your regular meeting, but I'm sensing there's no need for us to come back, and what we're going to be doing is plowing ahead to get this thing advertised.
Great.
Okay. Well, we will not see you at your next meeting then. We'll be working on recruiting.
Cool.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody.
Mayor.
Thank you, Larry.
All right.
Okay, next, budget discussion with Steve.
Yes, sir. First, under the budget discussion, you have a municipal accounting services memorandum, MOU, memorandum of agreement with the North Carolina League of Municipalities. In a nutshell, what that will do is the league has a program. It's called Accounting Instruction and Mentorship. The acronym is AIM, A-I-M. And under that program, and it's for smaller towns, the league will first of all pay for your most recent audit. So the audit that's being completed now, the league will cover the expense of that audit. And that audit is in the $30,000 range, so that's a savings to us. Secondly, they'll provide a finance person that's usually a retired finance director or someone in that area that's familiar with governmental fund balance accounting to work with our finance director to give some additional training, as well as to help with looking at our books. And that's again something that's done by the league as a grant. So what you have before you is a resolution to adopt. The only thing about the resolution that I would say, and comes from the town attorney, I'll let him explain it.
It's very simple. There's a reference to an Exhibit B, which would be for additional services that the league is not providing at this time. I think there's only about 3, maybe 4 references to Exhibit B in the whole contract. Discussing with Steve and Angie, I would ask you to consider that we just strike those references to Exhibit B in the final approved draft. You can do that with a motion tonight to approve this with that stipulation, and then I'll send a clean version over to Angie for execution tomorrow, if you do approve it. Other than that, I don't have any issue with it.
Your motion?
I make a motion we approve with the amendment of striking Exhibit B from the contract.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carries. Budget preparation calendar?
Yes, sir. I will come up front. The next item on the agenda is a presentation by staff of a revised budget that is a revised balanced budget. In addition to that, we'll be presenting information on the town's benefits that are offered to employees, the cost and the different types of benefits. And also, Jay Murray will be coming up to talk about where we are with our various infrastructure projects at the moment. So I'll start off by showing you on the next slide. I got to do that. Which one do I hit? That one. Okay, great. Thank you. We've got a proposed budget calendar. We have a revised 25-26 budget and fee schedule, employee benefits, and as I said, project updates. The proposed budget agenda, proposed preparation calendar, excuse me, is what I was trying to accomplish here with this calendar, and I'll go through it, is that I'm familiar when you put a budget together that you have a budget calendar that sets out what the steps are to do that. Given our situation right now in terms of moving forward and having the budget we need for the rest of the fiscal year, it is my recommendation to the board that we go through a more methodical look at this because you've got a lot of information that's been sent out this past week. And so my recommendation for your consideration, we don't have to make a decision right now, I would say you want to discuss that after we give the presentation, is that next Thursday is to actually adopt the revised budget. The purpose for my recommending that is that your current budget that we're working under doesn't allocate dollars, particularly in the area of benefits and salaries, across the three funds. You have three funds: general fund, water and sewer fund, electric fund. In a municipal budget, it's supposed to, you're supposed to allocate those funds across all three budgets. In this particular case, 80% of the salaries are in the water and sewer fund that are supposed to be, a portion of those should be both in the electric and in the general fund. So what we're trying to do, accomplish as a staff, is to give you a balanced budget that meets statutory requirements and has accepted municipal accounting practices. Now, with the knowledge that you all are going to make further amendments, I just trying to let you know that this is a budget that once you adopt it is in the proper format, and it also has been looked through, and you'll see that there have been it's now balanced, and there have been changes made in the budget. Knowing that, of course, you need to go and continue to make the amendments to the budget that you would like to see. We're also recommending that, and I just took this date because it happens to be a Saturday that falls in the middle of the next month, is possibly have a day-long work session, which I would highly recommend, on Saturday, September the 6th, because I know some of y'all are working during the week. And we'd have a day-long session where we would concentrate on the budget amendments and the line items that you want to look at. And then in the afternoon, we could move into the infrastructure projects and get a little more into the mechanics of that as well. This just a suggestion. Again, we would continue with budget discussions at your September 9th work session. And then lastly, look to have and I'm just putting it as a tentative date, September the 18th, which is your regular board meeting in September, to actually adopt the budget with the amendments that you all come up with over that period of time. That is a shorter calendar that's a short calendar because we're in the middle of the year and we need to move forward. This is the kind of calendar that you would do on a regular basis for putting together a budget, although it would be spread over generally 3 to 4 months, not just a month. But we're in that time frame where we would probably need to do that. So I'll move into the next. The revised budget and fee schedule that you have that was sent out to you, this revised budget is in accordance with North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, and is inclusive of all financial obligation and maintains funding for all municipal services. The revisions reflect a balanced budget with expenses appropriately allocated, as I said before. There's been a line item by line item adjustment. That adjustment's been made through the two managers and the finance director and the department heads. We all had a hand in looking at those particular items that you see before you. There are no proposed changes in utility rates. It remains the same. And by the way, and I want to make sure that I say this, state law only allows you to levy your property taxes prior to the fiscal year. You can't make changes in your property taxes in the fiscal year itself. So there's no change in the property tax rate that you currently levied back in May. After proper allocation of expenses, the amounts you see below are dollars that are left over, $376,015 in the general fund, and the water and sewer is $293,814. What we're looking at is a reserve amount of money that comes out of this initial balanced budget that can be used for unforeseen expenses, or the board can decide what you want to do with that through your budget preparation process. But those are dollars that after we did our new balanced budget, that are dollars left for reserve and for the reserve that you can make use of. After talking with department heads, we are recommending that there be 4 positions that would not be funded that would be taken out of the funding for this year. Excuse me, do you have a slide? Can you change the slide? Oh, I'm sorry.
What you're talking with, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I didn't realize it
Can you
didn't
go
change
back to
that.
the one previously that you were talking about?
That was the one, is a positive variance. There are general fund, $376,015, and water and sewer fund, $293,814. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't doing both, so I'll make sure. Okay. Okay, the next one is, these were positions that will not be, that we're recommending not be filled for this fiscal year. That doesn't mean that you couldn't, that you, if you decide to do this, that you couldn't, well, you can come back later and do it if you would like, but we're recommending, and this is based on conversation with department heads, that public services specialists, electric line technician, 3rd class, police sergeant, and executive assistant. Now, the executive assistant was a new position that you put in this year's budget, and that $50,000 of that position, if you recall, helped to pay for, helped to go towards the additional accounting work that we had done. At this point in time, that accounting work was to get the cast position, and it didn't get anywhere near $50,000. We're talking about a couple $1,000s to get all get everything that we're doing, and also getting the fiscal year 24 audit, getting that completed. But that's there in case you all decide you would like to have some additional financial help for this fiscal year by not filling that position. The total savings, as you can see, is $259,865 by not filling those positions. Okay, the revised budget summary. You'll see the funds, both revenues and expenditures. The general fund has been revised from $7,756,390 to $7,802,390 for a variance of $46,000. The reason why that has gone up is because, like I told you, there are about 12 positions, 12 to 13 positions in the general fund whose salaries are supposed to be spread across all 3 funds. For example, the town manager, assistant town manager, finance director. We have responsibilities in general government, water and sewer, and electric. In any kind of town that you're in that has those different funds, the proper thing to do is to divide those salaries over those 3 funds. That wasn't done for the one that was in place now. And so we have done that 1/3 in general fund, 1/3 in the water and sewer fund, and 1/3 in the electric fund. So that's why you have that difference, because we're moving dollars that were in water and sewer for salaries that should have been in the general fund, and also should be in the electric fund. The water and sewer is the same as our cast position showed. Water and sewer fund was in good shape, and it actually had a $120-some thousand balance. Electric system, we went back and we looked at electric sales and electric use over the last year, and looked at where we're at this year, and we're projecting that the revenues will be $6,978,543. That's a better than $500,000 more in actual electric sales. So you're looking at an amendment that has $610,741 of additional revenue.
Steve, where does the NAKEMPA money that we have to pay them, where does it come out of?
It comes out of the electric fund.
And with the increases and the decreases that we get, that figure still holds?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay, expenditures, well, it holds because we were able to show that we're going to have additional electric sales. Yes, sir. We're going to sell more electricity than what was forecasted in the previous budget.
But we still owe it.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And does any of that come off, and are we going to end up with more? I thought one was was to be paid off in July. You know, we had a $20,000 increase, we had a $10,000 increase. Wasn't one of those, William, to be paid off?
They were both 24-month riders, so the rider 22 should be coming off. I think that started in October. Remind me, Cal, I think that started in October. And so that 22 rider that's on our bill is for 24 months because that was an increase from the Kimpo. And after 24 months, that one will fall off. And then the 23 rider that we got for that additional, that increase will fall off in 2 years from that date. But there's another one coming in the fall for 24, and we just don't know what that is yet. We don't know until the Kimpo meets.
With us not knowing what that is, the figures are still good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, expenditures, you'll see that the expenditures, again, is reflecting the change in it's reflecting the change in the salaries. Water and sewer is the same, and electric. So what you've got is the variance is matched, so we have a balanced budget.
Steve, this morning, the one that we got about 10 this morning was not. Did we just pull from the contingency? The one that we got this morning that was delivered to us was not balanced. There was a 24th. Did you just pull that out of the contingency funds to balance that?
No, that was a reallocation of some fuel and enterprise leases from 7,200 water sewer back to 5610 in streets where it belonged. So that was that 24/7.
Okay.
And yes, that did reduce the contingent or the reserve fund in 4120 administration.
Okay.
And that's one of the sheets that you had that was updated.
Okay. All right.
By that
Yeah,
24.
that's fine, sir.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
All right.
All right, the general fund summary. Basically, what this does is it takes the numbers that we were showing on the other slide and breaks it down on a department by department basis. And again, you'll see that the revenues are 7,800,000 some thousand, and the expenditures are 7,800,000 and some thousand. And again, the general fund, a lot of those numbers are reflecting those additional dollars for the salaries that were moved back in from the water and sewer fund. But in the main, we've got we have a balanced budget. Water and sewer fund summary. Again, the water and sewer fund was in good shape. The difference that you're seeing where you see water and sewer collections, the difference in what you're seeing are the salary numbers that were moved out of there that were causing the salary numbers to elevate. I mean, your salary numbers, because of moving that 80% of those monies in there, was in the $800,000 range of additional in the water and sewer that should have been divided among all three funds. So the water and sewer fund, I can tell you, is in good shape. And that was true in the cash position you saw on July 18th. Electric system fund summary. Again, it's also reflecting the movement of dollars into salary dollars in there, as well as some other changes that were made on a line item by line item basis. The reason why we're not, if the board wants to ask questions when we finish our full presentation about some individual line items. The reason why we have a lot to provide you tonight, you had a lot of information, a lot of it just yesterday. That's why I put together the budget calendars, so that you have time to digest all of this information and be able to make the individual line item adjustments that you might want to make. And it'll be clearer once we get further along with the presentation as to why it's going to take more than just one night to make changes of that magnitude. The last thing that you have is a fee schedule of proposed changes, and the department heads are here as far as what those changes are. You did get those in your packet. We have Fire Department has substantive updates to entire fee schedule to coincide with surrounding counties and municipalities. Chief Johnson is here if you have any questions about that. You do have the fee schedule. And planning, we updated some of the costs in the planning because, quite frankly, some of the some of the permit fees and other fees that are in planning that deal with advertising and the cost of doing rezonings and other amendments, it wasn't covering the cost. The fee we were charging for a rezoning wasn't covering the cost of the advertisement that you're required by state law to do. And so the planning director has brought those along so that we are covering the costs in the planning department. The Parks and Recreation, Community Center, addition of rates for new community building upon completion, and introduction of instructional long-term rate for individual businesses using the space for teaching classes. You're going to be having more space in the new community building, the L-shaped building, and you'll have, be able to use more rooms for individual businesses using them for teaching classes. Adults, and again, the Parks and Recreation Director is here tonight. Adult sports, pricing structure updated to per person prices for co-ed volleyball, flag football, and 30-plus basketball, and men's basketball reflects option to purchase uniforms. And lastly, youth sports. Based on research of surrounding comparable P&R departments, we are recommending the removal of the separate rate for children 6 and under. The fee is now $40 resident and $65 non-resident for all ages. Again, the planning director is here tonight to answer questions on that. So what I'd like to do now is that now we've gone over the big picture here is to, if I could, Mr. Mayor, is bring up Scott Tart, our HR director, to go over the various fringe benefits that are out there. Thank you.
Good.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. As Mr. Harrell said, he's asked me to come up and provide a hopefully brief interview of employee benefits here at the town of Benson this evening. I do have quite a bit of information to go over, so what I provided to you guys before the meeting, you'll see in front of you there's a questions sheet and a pen. If you have any questions, I would just encourage you to write those questions down, and when we get to the end of the presentation, I will tackle those any questions you may have. But with that being said, we'll get started on the first page there. And you'll see it's basically a table of contents. What I've done is listed all of the benefits offered by the town of Benson for its employees. The first 5 there, I will group that as kind of health related. Health insurance, health care stipend, dental insurance, life, accidental death and dismemberment, long-term disability insurance, and vision insurance. Numbers 6 through 9, those are kind of your retirement. We want you to stay around, longevity type of benefits, 401k, special separation allowance for law enforcement officers, and longevity pay. Over on the next page, you will see the remainder of those benefits. 10 and 11 are stipends, telephone stipend, car stipend. 12 through 16 are what I call wellness or growth benefits, gym membership, athletic shoes reimbursement, annual physical incentives, employee assistance program, and tuition assistance. And then finally are 17 through 19 are some of your traditional benefits that many employees really don't even think about benefits, but in the HR world they are considered that. So with that being said, we'll get started on this track with number 1, health insurance. Our health insurance is provided by the state health plan. It is administered by Aetna. You will recall that Blue Cross Blue Shield used to be the administrator for it, and quite notoriously, I guess at this point, that switched over in January, and we're kind of moving forward with Aetna taking the control of that. It is important to note that once the town signed up for the state health plan in 2015, 16, in that range, we're locked in. So we can't go shop insurance rates anywhere. We're in it, and that's where we are.
Are we in it forever?
Yeah, unless the law changes.
Never, in 10 years.
We tried 3 or 4 years ago.
What if they go way up on the rates?
We're in it. So the town currently pays $8,395 per year for each employee, and that's about $700 a month. Employees currently pay up to $25 per month for employee-only coverage. Any dependent coverage is paid entirely by the employee. So if they have their spouse on the plan, if they have children on the plan, if they have any other dependents on the plan, the employee is paying that cost. Now, that will change come January 1, 2026. Come January 1, 2026, employees will pay up to $130 per month pursuant to a sliding scale based on salary. So the more you make, the more you pay. You'll see I've got an asterisk there, and it says tentative. That's tentative because we will not know for sure until this Friday, August 15th. At that point, the Board of Trustees for the State Health Plan will meet and determine what those actual rates will be. I have not heard any talk of any employer increases for this year, but they'll be determining that as well on Friday. So we'll wait to hear on that. Mr. Harrell also asked me to give you guys an idea of how much it currently costs to provide each of these benefits, and also if we had full maximum usage, all positions filled, all employees taking that benefit, how much it was cost. So as you see there, at this time, and this can change daily with people coming in and out and turnover and all that good stuff, but 47 people currently on the health insurance. Annual cost of that is about $400,000. If every employee came in, we had every position filled, and every employee came in and said, I want health insurance, that would be about $585,000 that the town would have to pay for health insurance. So going on to number 2, health insurance stipend. So employees who have insurance coverage through some other source, be it a spouse, a parent, if they're former military, they have TRICARE. If they have that type of coverage and they decline state health plan coverage from the town, they're eligible to receive a $400 per month stipend. If you multiply that out through the year, it's $4,800. At this time, we have 11 employees at the town who do not take health insurance coverage, but they do take the health care stipend. And you'll see there the current annual cost for that benefit stands right now at $52,800. Number 3, dental insurance. Dental insurance is provided through Lincoln Financial. Town pays approximately $93 a year for each employee. It's just shy of $25 a month. We currently have 60 employees who own dental insurance. Annual cost of that $17,500. If all employees and board members are eligible for dental insurance as well, if all employees and board members were to take that, you're looking at $22,500. And by the way, those rates are locked in until January 1, 2026. So they're locked in for a while with the insurance company and then can renew. Number 4, life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, long-term disability insurance. That's also provided by Lincoln. I think the simplest way to explain that is to say there that the town pays 88 cents per $100 of salary for each employee for those 3 types of insurance. Board members can receive up to $20,000 in life insurance coverage under that plan. Current cost, $36,000. Annual cost of benefit, if we have full staffing and full usage, is $41,000. Right. Number 5, vision insurance provided by United Healthcare. The town pays about $63 per employee per year. It's about $5.30 a month. 58 employees currently on it, $3,700. If we had full usage and staffing at 70, it'd be about $4,500. Now on to number 6. This is getting into your retirement and kind of longevity grouping of benefits. We have the local government employees retirement system. You'll hear it called Elders. This is required by state law. Every employee who works for the town that works over 1,000 hours per year must go into the retirement system.
That's for all local governments in North Carolina. You have to do it.
So you'll see there the town pays 14.35% of each general employee's salary into the retirement system. You may say, what's a general employee? Well, a general employee is any employee that is not a law enforcement officer. So on the second bullet point, you'll see there for law enforcement officers, we have to pay 16.1% of their salary into the retirement system. And then on the third bullet point, you'll see that employees pay 6% of their salary into the retirement system. As people are coming in, I tell them, you're not going to see that 6%. You're not going to be able to go on vacation or put food on the table with that 6%. It goes to Raleigh, as we like to say, and you'll be able to access that whenever you're eligible for your retirement. So as you'll see on the screen there, the current annual cost right now is around $617,000 for all the retirement. If we were to be at full staff, with all those employees working over 1,000 hours a year, you're looking at $700,000. Number 7, that's our 401k contribution. The town puts into an Empower 401k for each employee. It used to be Prudential, 5% of their salary. So this is not a match. This is a straight contribution. So whether the employee decides to put their money into it or not, they may say, nope, I'm good. I need that money at home. I'm not going to put any of my own money into that 401k. The town is still going to put 5% into that 401k for the employee. Now, you'll see the next bullet point there, the town must make this contribution of 5% for sworn law enforcement officers. That is required by state law. It is not required that the town make the 5% contribution to each, here's that word again, general employee, meaning an employee who's not a law enforcement officer. They don't have to do that, but the town has traditionally done so to even that out. So the current annual cost is approximately $205,000 for 401k contributions. The annual cost at full staffing would be about $215,000. So then on to number 8, and this is a benefit that a lot of folks are not aware of unless you happen to be in the police force or know a police officer. It's called the Special Separation Allowance for Law Enforcement Officers. Again, this is required by state law as well. So what is it? Well, law enforcement officers who retire, and they've, say, either gotten 30 years of service at any age, say you start at 22 and you retire at 52, or if you're at least 55 years of age and you have 5 years of service, you're eligible for a monthly separation allowance payable until you reach the age of 62 or become otherwise employed that disqualifies you from continuing to receive that allowance. So again, my example of you're 22, you start your law enforcement career, you work 30 years, you retire after 52 years. If you retire at this town or any other town in the state of North Carolina, you're going to get that separation allowance until you're 62 years old, 10 years. So right now we have actually one retiree that qualifies for that. So we pay approximately $18,500 a year. Now how that will fluctuate would depend on where your officers are on your force. Are they eligible to retire? Are they going to retire? So right now, you know, we've got one that could retire, and if they did, that benefit amount is going to go from $18,000 to about $50,000.
And I'd like to, if I could, add, that separation allowance came into effect probably 30 years ago, and the purpose of it was to, the amount that you pay is basically equivalent to what that individual will get from Social Security when they turn 62. So if they retire at 52, for 10 years, you're paying the equivalent of what they'll get in Social Security when they turn 62 years old. And that was put into place by the state. Only for law enforcement. Sworn officers, I should say, yeah.
So going on to number 9, longevity pay. What I've done is just taken the chart straight out of the personnel policy. That is what the longevity schedule looks like. You've seen this month's HR report, and I calculated the turnover rate for fiscal year 2024, 2025, and it's over 27%. So as you might see, most of your folks are getting $50 for 1 to 4 years of service for longevity. And with that being the way it is, the current annual cost you would think might be more, but it's not because of that increased turnover we have. It's $15,500. So then on to number 10, we'll get into a few stipends. So the town pays either $35 per month or $50 per month towards the cell phone bill for employees who use their personal phones for work purposes. Currently, there are 13 employees who receive the telephone stipend. The monthly cost of these stipends is $530. If you multiply that out every year, it gives you about $6,500 on personal telephones used for work. On the flip side of that coin, you have 15 employees who use town-issued cell phones for work. Current cost for that is about $42 per month. You add that up every year, it gives you about $7,500. So you're at about $14,000 for phone usage throughout the year. Number 11, car stipend. There are currently 2 positions that receive a monthly car stipend of $400 per month. You add those, that's $4,800 a year. You add those 2, that's an annual cost of $9,600.
And I would like to add, those 2 positions are the manager's positions. And as you've learned from Mr. Worsley, when he told you about advertising for a manager, a monthly stipend for a town manager for car usage is fairly standard across the state. It's been like that for years, in lieu of providing a town car for the manager, which used to be what was done 40 years ago when I got into the business.
Okay, but we have got 13 employees that are receiving that at this time.
No, sir, we got
No.
2.
Are you talking about the phone stuff?
No, okay.
The SCAR type is just 2 positions.
2 positions, and they are who?
The town manager and the assistant town manager.
Okay, the assistant town manager was never in the picture though. Okay, so we're paying that $400 a month now for a car?
$400 a month car stipend, yes, sir.
Okay, and that's not what I just understood. I understood that the town manager was to get that.
Yes, sir.
The assistant town manager, where did that play out where she ended up getting $400?
That was what was offered when she was employed by the
Okay.
manager.
By the manager?
And not the board, correct?
Not the board.
Not that I know of.
It was in my offer letter, that's
It was
all.
in her offer letter, but it was not something that obviously came to the board.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. For car stipends, I authorize directors and managers on my job their monthly car stipends, but it's broken down. Just say we got a budget of $600. This is just a number I'm throwing out. If a manager does not go anywhere, they don't get that stipend. But I know you said that is with.
It's standard.
It's standard.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's standard across the state.
So. For the manager, okay.
Mhm.
But for the assistant, there's no criteria.
Yep.
And I think Kayla will tell you, like she told me, it was a gift. She didn't ask for it. It was there. It was a gift. She didn't understand why she was getting it, but she won't want to turn it down at the time.
Let me explain that the reason that there's the car stipend that for town managers
Right, I
and
understand.
county managers across the state, the standard is because they drive their cars around town. If they go out and look at a water line break, or if they go over to a council of government meeting, things of that nature, that's what it's covering, is the use of the car that way.
Right, I understand about the town manager, it's just the assistant part.
Yes,
So whether she goes anywhere or not, she'll still get that $400. instead of it being justified that I went to a meeting here and a meeting there.
Well, the assistant town manager is also using her car for going around and looking at, I mean, she's overseeing the public works, and so she's using her personal car to go around to do that. And I'm just giving you that, what would be a reason for doing a car stipend, yes.
Does the car stipend include gas, or is that some, do we pay gas extra?
No, it's just a stipend.
We don't pay for gas.
Well, no, it's just a stipend, yes, yes. And again, that's in lieu of a company car, so to speak, such as like the department heads have and some of the crew leaders have, yes.
So we don't
That's-
have any cars sitting out there that they can drive?
Well,
Do we not have cars that she could drive, or whoever the assistant manager is can drive, or?
That's something I can come back to you and let you know.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
need to look at
We can
that.
do that. We're just giving you the
Right, I
numbers
understand.
tonight. Yes, ma'am. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, number 12, this is where we're getting into the wellness and kind of growth benefits. Gym memberships. Each employee is eligible to have a paid membership at one of 3 local gyms. Currently, there are about 10 people, give or take, at any given time who are utilizing this. Each membership is $20 a month per employee. Annual cost of that benefit is $2,500. You'll see there the full uses amount is $17,000 if everybody decided to show up tomorrow and they wanted to get in shape and join the gym, which has not happened in the 6 years that I've been here. It's stayed somewhere around that 10 employees. Moving on to number 13, athletic shoes reimbursement. Each employee is eligible to be reimbursed up to $100 per year towards the purchase of athletic shoes. You'll see that in fiscal year 25, there were 25 employees who used that benefit, so it was about $2,500. In the same line as on the last slide, if everybody decided to go out and buy them some running shoes tomorrow and come in and get reimbursed, you'd be looking at about $7,000. Actually, last year, if I'm remembering correctly, that was a pretty high year. It was higher usage than we normally have gotten out of that in the years that I've been here with the 25.
So this is just leisure wear. This is not like for maybe public works that need work shoes like steel toes. This
Yeah.
is just for leisure?
Yeah, this is a wellness program, yes.
I didn't even know they would, did y'all know that?
No.
It was in place when I got here in 2019.
They got 2019?
No, it was in place when I got here in 2019. I think it was in place quite a bit before then.
To the gym membership, stuff like that, when that was it. Because it supposedly gave us cheaper.
I don't recall exactly when you did it, but it was part of the insurance plan at that time. It was institute all these things.
Do we still have that insurance plan though that gave, I remember the wellness program, because that was when Matt Zapp was here, but I thought all that had been dissolved.
No, this has probably been going, I would say, for at least a decade.
Still in place.
yeah, it was in
Yep.
place when I was here the first time, and that was 2014-ish.
I don't want to be picky about it, but I noticed when I saw those checks, when I signed those checks, it was all $100. Why is it not 84.18 or 96.15? Why don't we have to give? Don't you have to give a receipt to get reimbursed, or you just say?
The receipts come in, yeah.
You're always over $100.
No. Now, what you're
Up to.
what you're probably seeing is the next, the prior one for the annual physical.
It's the next one.
Is it the next one? Yeah.
Yes.
So if you go to number 14, the annual physical incentive. So employees who get their annual physical each year, if they will bring proof that they had a physical. We don't want to know what's right with you. We don't want to know what's wrong with you. We just want to know that you had a physical. If you bring that proof in, then you'll get $100 for that. So that is $100 across the board. So if somebody going back to shoes, if somebody buys an $84 pair of shoes, they get $84.
That's what
If they buy a $175 pair of shoes, they get $100. It's capped at $100.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is probably all the physical $100 checks, and then all the shoes that have been capped. That's probably what you're seeing there. So last year, the usage for that was 34. That was higher than usual. I think last year, for whatever reason, folks were out and about and getting their physicals and buying their athletic shoes to keep in shape. Current cost for that is $3,500. If everybody decided they were going to go get their physicals this year and turn in a receipt, you'd be looking at around $7,000. So then going on to number 15, our Employee Assistance Program. This is provided by McLaughlin Young Group, known to us internally as My Group. They do a lot of this work. They provide employees and family members with confidential counseling to help resolve problems that may affect their work or family life. In fact, we have two separate programs. One is the First Responders Assistance Program. The other one is the Employee Assistance Program. The first responders, as you can imagine, they see quite a few things that I don't see in an office, sitting in an office every day. So they've got a more robust program set up for them. We did not get this until 2 or 3 years ago. Most municipalities had this, and we did not. We have brought an on-site counselor here 2 or 3 times in the past 2 years. One for an internal matter that was very traumatic to our employees, and 1 or 2, at least 2, for folks that are first line workers, incidents that they had to respond to and needed some help talking about that. So the annual cost of that is roughly $7,000 per year. Number 16, tuition assistance. Per the town personnel policy, town offers tuition assistance program to employees who want to further their education and training in a program that is related to their work here at the town. They may receive assistance up to $800 per fiscal year for courses related to their work. This is also widely provided by municipalities as well. Current cost is $800. You'll see the annual cost benefit at full usage. If everybody came into my office tomorrow and said, I'm signing up for classes and I'm ready to get my degree in what I do, then you're looking at $56,000. But I will tell you that the 6 years I've been here, I would be surprised if more than 5 people have used that benefit. Total.
Scott, is there a longevity agreement when we do that? If we pay for your classes, that you agree to work?
No. No.
Okay.
And you usually don't see that for that type of assistance in a municipality, not for that.
Is there a grade they gotta maintain?
Nope.
Really? So they don't have to
Per-
sign the contract or anything?
The personnel policy states it there.
Wow, I had to sign my life away
Yeah.
for undergrad school. Every year reimbursement.
We have to show grades.
Proof and grade, yep. me
Proof
too.
and grades, and you had to maintain a C average
That's right.
to get reimbursed.
That's right. I did the same thing.
This is the policy that's been in place for probably over a decade.
And nobody uses it. Okay.
And if you remember, a proposed policy was done in 2023 for a whole personnel policy, and that's never been brought before this board. In November of 2023.
Now, that is for all employees,
Yes.
only $800.
Yeah, I was looking the other day, I was looking for something, I saw the city of Raleigh. I think there's just like $1,250 that they pay employees in financial assistance for tuition during the year. Yeah. And that 800's probably not been changed in at least a decade either. Yeah. So going on to number 17, you will see sick, vacation, holiday pay. The town provides sick leave for full-time employees, which is earned at a rate of 1 day per month. So that's 12 days a year. That's keeping in line with the state retirement or with the local government retirement system. Credit service, all that good stuff. Employees can, if they're 29 years instead of 30 and they want to use a year of sick leave, then that can be used to get them out the door a year earlier for all state or local employees. Town provides paid holidays based on the holiday schedule that is approved by the Board of Commissioners each year. And then the town provides paid vacation based on the accrual schedule you'll see to the right there. In that proposed policy that has not made it to the board, that was proposed to be adjusted, but that is still what we're using there. Now, I will tell you that our 12-hour police officers who are on 12-hour shifts and our 24-hour fire engineers at the fire department who are on 24-hour shifts, those are adjusted some. I mean, they're working more hours during the year than your average 40-hour-a-week employee who's working 2,080 hours a year. They're working somewhat more. So those are adjusted somewhat, but I can take you through a very fun and long calculation to get that if you want, but you probably don't want to hear about it tonight. Number 18, workers' compensation insurance. This is required by state law. All town employees are covered under the North Carolina Workers' Compact. This act covers the employees who suffer injuries as a result of an accident while they're performing their duties. It will pay medical expenses and a portion of the employee's salary if that person is out of work as a result of a work-related injury. The current annual cost for the benefit is approximately $92,000. You will see that I have an asterisk by that number as well. That's subject to any kind of workers' comp premium audit that we may have or the experience modification rate. It's referred to as the EMR. Basically, there are 3 factors that go into your workers' comp rate. Number 1, salary. Number 2, the type of work the employee does. As you can imagine, the rate that is charged for somebody like me sitting in the office every day is a whole lot different than a rate charged for somebody working on the streets crew or an electrical worker or a firefighter. So that is the second factor that goes in, and the third factor is claims. The more claims you have, the higher your rate goes. The less you have, the lower your rate is. So that's why we try to stress safety. The number one thing about safety is we want our employees to be safe and all the people that they're out there working for. The second thing we want is we'd rather not be paying more money for workers' comp insurance because it adds up quickly. So those are the 3 things that we go on there. It's something you got to pay. You can't get around it. All you can do is try to keep it as low as you can. And then number 19, and the final one, you guys have made it through, is FICA. And it's required by federal law. In fact, it is the Federal Insurance Contributions Act. We may more commonly know it as Social Security and Medicare tax. The town pays 7.65% of the employee's salary into this fund. That's broken down into 6.2% for Social Security, 1.45% for Medicare. In fact, the employees pay that same percentage out of their check. It never goes home. It goes to Washington, D.C. So some goes to Raleigh, some goes to D.C. As I say there, it's not something usually, if you ask an employee if that's a benefit, they'll say, no, you're taking money out of my paycheck. But, you know, in the human resources world, that is a benefit that is provided. You'll see the current annual cost of that benefit is $350,000. The annual cost of that benefit, if fully staffed, $400,000. And I will say that also includes part-time work, overtime work. You don't get away from that just because you're a part-timer and you know, overtime. On the next slide, you'll see the start of my summary. This basically looks like, well, we got a little off-center on some of the benefit lines there. But basically, this is your table of contents that's been basically shifted to the right, and you'll see a summary of those figures we're talking about throughout the presentation. So your health insurance current cost, $400,000, full usage, $585,000. If we go to the next slide, you'll see benefits 10 through 19. If you add all of those up, and this is not an exact figure by any means. I mean, just think, for instance, somebody's got to choose a health care stipend or health insurance. They're not getting both, so you know you're not lumping all that in there. But to give you a rough idea, the cost of doing business for benefits, you're looking at a current of around $1.85 million. Full usage is everybody's employed and everybody's using it, almost $2.3 million. So what I've tried to do is give you something here that you can easily reference back to as we're going through these discussions to take a look at it. And then also quickly and easily go back to those last 2 pages to kind of put your thumb on roughly where the money's going for that stuff. So with that, I appreciate your time, and I'll be glad to answer any questions at the appropriate time, whenever that may be. Thank you.
Okay, Scott. Next would be Jay Murray on our project management.
Good evening. I put together a short presentation on an update on all the projects we have going on with the town right now through different grants and appropriations. The first one to review is the Mingo Interceptor and Sewer Rehabilitation Project. This is an EDA grant along with a $2,165,000 loan from the USDA, which is at a 1.5% interest of 40 years, which is a great rate, and another $998,000 USDA grant, which totals to $6,363,000. Wooten is our engineering partner. Their contract for this is $923,300. They have billed us $586,785, and we have paid them so far $275,350. To my knowledge, we have not been able to submit for reimbursement on any of this money. Is that correct? That's correct.
This
Okay.
is a project that requires construction to begin before we get any reimbursement, right?
Yes, that is correct. We've had a meeting with the EDA. The EDA grant is a reimbursement grant, which means we would have to pay our contractors and our engineering partners before we could submit to EDA. This is what the $2,165,000 loan is for. Now, for us to conceivably get that loan, we would have to get interim financing through the LGC to do the work.
Yeah.
And the USDA loan comes in at the very end of the project to make up the difference.
Yeah, you have to get the USDA loan, you have to do an interim loan through a bank, finish the project, and then the USDA loan pays off that loan.
The holdup on this project has been DEQ, though, correct? Is that right? Is this the discharge into the Cape, or is that?
No, that's on the wastewater treatment
Okay,
plant.
all right.
This is the sewer lines. We're going to remove the pump station over King Circle, turn it into a gravity line, which will tie into a line on the very west side of the railroad tracks to the new pump station on Louis Woods property. Then you'll have a force main that goes up to the South Walton pump station. It would also eliminate the Chicopee pump station and turn that into a force main up the Chicopee and tie into town.
Is this the one that goes under 95?
Yes, it is. It does go underneath 95. We have the hold harmless letter in place for the contractor. Whatever the winning contractor is assigned, they will sign that document. So if anything happens on 95, they are responsible for it. It worked, all right. The next is a wastewater treatment plant headworks project. We are just about completed with this project. It was pulled from our $22,733,000 ARPA funds we received from the state. We have a Wooten contract amount of $475,000. They say there may be an extension contract, but I'm not so sure about that right now. EOJ is a contractor whose main contract was $2,095,000 to complete the work, and that is an actual picture of the headworks out there right now. There are some change orders outstanding until we come to a resolution with ELJ to finalize those change orders. I estimate their contract to be $2,121,352. Project's should be completed by end of August. They are a month behind right now on the project. The next project is the wastewater treatment plant expansion. This is the remaining ARPA money. here later on this evening, I'm going to present you with we received bids for the project itself. So we do know the funding amounts. They have changed actually today, how we're going to finance the project and then use all the remaining amounts of the ARPA money we received from the state. Wooten has a contract of $2,108,000. They have billed us $1.175, and we have paid them out of our pocket $734,000. Now, we're understanding that we can bill for that $734,000 now. It's always been under the understanding that if you have an ARPA project, you are not allowed to bill for any services and everything until the project's under construction. That is not the case anymore. So we're getting reimbursed for that money. Yes.
So we're fixing to start seeing monies coming in that we have already used.
Yeah, that we have outlaid that we're going to have certain money coming in on these projects now.
We've still got an agreement with our two engineer firms that we don't, until monies start coming in, that they kind of put their engineering plans on hold until we get that money. I know we paid Wooten some money already on several projects.
Correct.
But we owe them money that we can't pull until we actually get the money. Now, some of this monies are coming in to help.
Yes.
To put it back in our hands.
Right.
Okay.
And since this project has been bid, there will be have a resolution, as I mentioned previously, for this evening to get approved. Then once we have that, then we'll have monthly stipend payments. We'll start getting our money each month now from this point forward. So, and we'll catch up to engineering, then start getting monies for the construction. The next project is a wastewater treatment plant septic receiving station. This is an EPA grant or a STAG grant, which is a State Tribal Assistance Grant. We received $1 million to do the project itself. Wooten has a contract amount of $132,200. They've billed us $105,200, and we've paid them $105,200. This is another project where we are going to be submitting for reimbursement on the engineering costs on it now instead of paper. But this project's ready to go. We are ready for letter of intent. ELJ's contract will be $749,990. We have $869,800 for construction, so we're actually ahead of the game, $119,000 right now. That includes contingency as well on top of that. This project should take no longer than 6 months to complete. And once completed and up and running, and we have some service providers coming to the area, this will be a revenue source for the town.
Let me ask Steve something.
Yes, sir.
On this, now that it's happening and we're getting these funds back, are we still looking at not a separate fund, all this money for a project like this? This is the $22 million project. Keeping it in a separate fund or everything going into general?
No, sir. These have been set up on a project ordinance, and so the dollars, accounting-wise, would be separate.
Okay, but the bank account?
The dollars would not be kept in a separate bank account. They would be in the same bank account, but your accounting the accounting would keep track of those dollars to make sure that they're being paid with the grant dollars that you've gotten. And the reason why you don't want to have the separate bank accounts is because you want to make the interest rate as best you can. And when you divide the money up, you're not getting the interest rate you want. But the project ordinance will help the finance director keep those in line. I would like to point out at this point in time that some of these dollars that are coming in that we will be getting back that have been paid in advance for the engineering fees are going to have to go back to reimbursing the $1.9 million that the town got on a grant to build the to rehab the L-shaped building. We've paid $900,000 towards the L-shaped building so far. There's $1.6 million worth of actual cost that has gone into the building. We may have paid a little bit more, but there's 1.6 million. There'll be another 300,000 left over after that could be applied toward the L-shaped building. We have to put that money back towards that 1.9 million. I spoke with the Office of State Management Budget. These are legislative dollars that were given to OSMB, as they call it. We have until next June 2026 to expend those dollars. If they are not expended, and if they're not expended on what was intended, and or if there are any dollars left over after we finish the work, the town is obligated to pay those dollars back, because you can't just keep the dollars for other things. So part of the problem is that some of those dollars have been used to fund some other items, and so that's why you find yourself repaying those dollars.
But looking at these two past projects, $800 and something thousand were spent probably of that money to cover the expenses of this, and that's what we're waiting for to get reimbursed on now, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as the EPA STAG grants, another project that has the same thing, we will submit to the EPA for reimbursements. And once we receive the money, we'll have 3 days within to pay our contractors. This is not a reimbursement program. This is, we submit, they pay us, we send it on. Sorry about the last slide, folks. This is a phase 3 and 4 water line system improvements. This is the EPA STAG grant. We have a total of $1,199,690. The original grant was for $959,732. I got our cost sharing waived on that, so there will be no money out of the town's pockets for this. This is to replace a water line on South Elm Street, Southwest Railroad, and West Parish Street, all the way from 301 over to Pine Street, and replace. Hopefully, I'd like to replace all the fire hydrants at the same time as well.
I know we mentioned this a few months ago, and I don't know if we ever got to it, but have you looked at the stormwater that was DC'd on West Parish Drive, where there's no stormwater line going down between Augusta all the way down to Pine Street? It failed years ago, and the town didn't have the money to repair it, and so they just cut it off. And I was just wondering if there was any money in this project that could be used to replace that. I say years ago, I mean before I was in Benson.
Okay. Right now, no. I'm going to say no right now. Okay. But I do have a funding source for that if I can locate the lines.
Okay.
That's out of our $16 million.
Can you look at that at some point in time before we start on this? If we're going to dig up the road, let's do it once.
Yeah. Okay.
Jay, this is
Yes, sir.
a little off of the water lines, but anything going down Chicopee Road, I mean, we're looking at a new water tank, and it might be that site. What kind of lines have we got, and what kind of lines, and I know we discussed that might be the best place for it,
Correct.
but what lines have we got that's gonna tie in already, or are we going to end up, that's gonna be a big project to run water lines to it and from it?
My understanding, Ray, you're the expert here, but my understanding there's a 12-inch main on right next, within 200 foot of the tank. We'll be able to tie right into that.
Cool. And it goes from where to where?
Help me out here. I don't know where those lines are.
Kind of hard to hear back there. I think you were asking about the water lines that's
On
going to
Chicopee
go to the
that
new
may
water
go
tower.
to the new water tower.
It's asbestos cement. It's AC. It sounds bad, but it's good pipe. Holds water quality real well. Has a lifespan of about 80 years. It was installed in the late 70s, so we're in good shape on that.
How far is it from the new location, if it's approved?
It was just right around the corner.
Yeah, we wanted to put the tower close to the booster station to reduce the time it would take to fill the tower.
Okay.
So it's AC line all the way from the plant where it comes
Right.
from, all the way down 301 to our entry point and to South Market Street where the new tower is going to be.
Okay, and it goes from the new tower where?
We don't have plans to extend that line. We've talked about it.
Okay.
But there are no immediate plans to run that water line from the new tower across I-95 just yet. But we are talking about it now, currently.
Okay. Well, I knew it had been discussed. I knew our water main, though, was on Market Street. Didn't know just what was over on Chicopee Road.
It's all very good pipe.
Good deal.
I'm a fan of AC pipe
Okay.
for water quality.
Very good. Thank you, Ray.
Yes, sir.
The next project, which is winding down right now, is the stormwater design project. This was with a Lassie grant of $400,000. Wooten contract was $400,000, and I don't know what they billed us. They could not provide me the information when I asked for it. We've paid them $273.06. We are getting reimbursed for this money as we go along. Right now, we're at a difference of $23,936. I talked to Angie earlier. It was probably late last week, where we can just go ahead and bill for the balance right now until Wooten sends us their final bill. Then we've submitted for payment as well. This is for the Man Street and Riddick Street areas where it floods over there, and also it will run down East Harnett and pull off the fire station and East Parish Street. Basically down around T&T Fitness and what's a brewery? I'm going to get banished not knowing that. And then it'll tie out into the I-95 project. So what it does, it would actually give us physically two shovel rate projects to start on if we ever do get more grant money to start them.
And when this project is finished, we're gonna really have a lot of help with our stormwater drainage as far as some of the flooding that we've had over on
Yes.
301 and that area.
Yes.
I was hoping so.
The next on the list is the $16 million appropriations we received from the state. The first one's a lead service line. The state has allotted us. I asked for $250. They gave us $257,732. Ray has done the inventory right now. We are in compliance, but we have not submitted any reimbursements for it because we have no cost yet. I think once Ray and I sit down sometime within the next few weeks, we'll look at maybe start doing some investigation work and see what we can change now. The second one is the North Lincoln and West Martin Street sewer replacement. We're also going to replace the main line on Wall Street, North Wall Street. Wooten has a contract. It's $288,300. They have not submitted any invoices or payments. They have started surveys. I've seen their people out here doing survey work on it. This is, once they submit the invoice to us, we submit to the state and get reimbursed for it. Then we have 3 days to pay our contractor. In this case, it would be Wooten. We have not incurred any charges so far. The I-40 sewer line replacement, this is a new line that goes underneath I-40. It's going to replace the existing 24-inch up to a 36-inch line with a 48-inch casing. Wooten has a contract for a design of $188,700. There have been no invoices or payments and on that project as well, and they've been doing survey work down there as well. I-40 pump station, we're rehabbing the pump station up next to I-40 to services the rest areas. I submitted for $141,501, and we've costed it out with all the parts and the pricing from the contractors at $134,032. We've already had the pumps. We just have not paid for them. I'm waiting any day for the state to tell me to give me the go-ahead to start the work. And as soon as I do, I'll tell Andrew, and we'll get the work done. We get the invoices, we submit to the state pays us, and that's it. And then we have the elevated storage tank. It's going to be 750,000 gallons. I estimated $6,741,000 to construct the tank. This is on McNevers property. We have no contracts yet, and we have no expenditures. I will be, right now I have an appraiser going out looking at McNevers property where we're going to locate the tank. He's going to give me a property appraisal for the property. Then I will get with Ike, and we will get a hold of McNair and say, this is what we think it's worth. Are you willing to do a tax credit letter with us, or do we just go ahead and purchase it outright? Right now, it says 16 million, but it's actually $15,760,000 because the state takes 3% for administrative fees. And right now, we have remaining left to be spent $5,393,638. I'm going to sit on that for a little bit until some of these projects start, so we make sure we have any cost overruns or something like that, we're covered on it. But the main thing for me right now is the elevator storage tank. We desperately need the water in the town. This is the L building, what we call the Lee Street Building Rehabilitation. This is a $1.9 million state grant. I said state taking 3% for administration fee. They're actually taking 1.5%. That's what he told me. But I left the 3% on there. The subtotal for the project construction would be $1,857,550. I took out 10% as a contingency to keep back for us in case we had any, mistakes or something like that, which left me a project budget of $1,671,795. Below that's the total cost for all the contracting that's been done on the building so far, what is allocated for this project. I have allocated for it. Contractors have sent me their contracts, change orders. This is the amount that I have as of 2 weeks ago. Well, I have allocated $1,609,600.49. There are a couple more change orders I'm going to have to write, but they're not very big. Right now, for construction-wise, I'm under budget by $62,194.51 plus the contingency of $185,755. We are sitting at $247,949.51 to the good.
But that will have to be reimbursed back to the state if we don't spend it.
Yes.
Or we would talk to the state about any additional improvements to the L building that we might see.
Could we use that for paving that parking lot by the ball fields?
That might be a possibility.
I have money in for paving
Oh,
a parking lot. I also I'd like to line the drain lines inside the building to make sure that they are sufficient for usage.
that's something we can still talk about.
Yeah, I'm working out some different scenarios from change orders so I can complete everything. I'd rather not give the state back money if we can put it toward this building and give everybody in town a great building.
Are your
That's why
cabinets gonna cost you any more, or is that gonna work out?
I'm sorry?
Or cabinets?
Cabinets are already in the contract.
I knew it, but didn't their cabinet people,
Yeah, and no, I made ACH hold their price.
okay.
And the last project right now is community development block grants. I'm sure some of the folks, I forgot. Slip lining and manhole repairs, and some of the people in town have seen the gravel sitting on the roadways. I'll explain that here in a minute. I did get some updated information. This is with Withers Ravenel. Jimco was a contractor on the project itself. Withers' contract right now stands at $383,751, and Jimco's contract right now stands at $1,631,570. Total together with both of them is a little over $2 million. It says remaining grant negative $16,557.23, but there is a contingency that Withers did not tell me about of $158,434. So we are to the good. I should have added this up, but I didn't. It's about $142,000 to the good right now. We do have a couple of change orders, which will take that amount down, but I'm still under budget on the project itself. And the reason for the graveling on some of the roadways, once they completed the project, they realized that and did the CCTV work, underground camera work, they realized some of the lines did not line up exactly the way they should have. And we had to go in and rehabilitate a couple of the manholes for drops. So we had to dig it back down again, take it out, and they're supposed to be coming out, I believe, next week to do new CCTV work on it to make sure everything is done correctly. And once that's been confirmed, we'll dig it out, pave it, and walk away. And that's where I'm at right now. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I guess
Mr.
now
Mayor,
for-
Mr. Mayor, could I just kind of do a wrap-up?
Sure.
Okay. What we have accomplished at this point is we have accomplished putting together, as I said before, a balanced budget. That balanced budget does include dollars in there to begin paying down on the open invoices. In fact, the 51 checks yet to be mailed out, those have been taken care of. So we're basically, we have as I said before, we have a cash flow problem. That's why we worked the budget, and with further help from the board as we go through and look at the line items, we can put ourselves in a position to be able to take care of that. It's not that we're broke, we just need to maneuver the dollars where they need to go to be able to pay that. It will mean, I will tell you, that it will mean some belt tightening, and that will include your upcoming budget for the next fiscal year when you start putting that together in the spring. But we just wanted to assure the board that the staff has been working on this and that we're going to be able to also with whatever you all would like to see change, we'll be able to tackle this problem and solve it.
Okay, great. Okay, now's the time when we put in public comment. Would anybody like to come and address us? Okay, good. Maybe we answer questions. Okay,
Is there a possibility that the electrical,
If you can just come up and state your name and address for the record.
Okay, leave any weapons up the back.
my name is Roby Clifton, resident here in Benson. I just had a question about the electrical grid expenditure that we have, budget we have with it. I know some other community. 109 Colonnade Court. Yeah.
Hold on.
That could possibly be sold.
Let me ask you something, Roby. Is Colonnade Court though on the town, or are y'all on?
We're on Duke Energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Grandfathered in there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And so, just wondering if that would, if that's a possibility for the grid system to be sold.
Can I
Back to
address
Duke.
that, Mr. Mayor? So, obviously, I've been up here for several years. I feel your pain with the electrical because I'm on the town. Just to give you an idea, my light bill in July was $984 at my house. So I feel your pain, and that's just one of my properties. That doesn't include the ones on Main Street. I went last year. Obviously, we are in this thing called Nakempa. Just to give you a little bit of history lesson, and then maybe that'll answer some questions, because I would love nothing more than to sell our system. There has been discussions in the past, but in 1985, Nakempa was created. I was 4, just to give you an idea. When I was 4, Nakempa was created basically because there was 31 or 32 communities, 32 communities across the state that could not afford infrastructure for electricity. And so they created this Nakempa, which is a co-op, basically, from what I understand. And we entered into an agreement in 1985 with that co-op. And since then, they paid for the infrastructure, a lot of the infrastructure, and we had a debt service payment of about $25,000 a month since then that we've had to pay Nakempa to pay that debt service back for our infrastructure. That debt service fell off in July 25. Am I correct in saying that, Cal?
July 2015.
That's when the debt service fell off, or 25?
That's when Duke bought out the debt for us, and then we began.
But our debt service payment didn't fall off until July 25. Is that correct, Caleb?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So
we had
under the original agreement, yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
In 2015, you're right, though, Duke did buy out Nakempa, and there was another agreement made, and we are currently under that agreement. And so I went and met with the CEO, Roy Jones, about a year ago this time to try to get my head wrapped around it from hearing, obviously, concerns from the community. Brought Roy Jones back here. He did a presentation here. Y'all probably didn't watch that because it probably didn't hit the paper. So, but we are under contract with them until 2035. There is nothing that can be done until 2035. What you have seen on your electrical bills now, and I'm going to try to preface this correctly, y'all interrupt me if I'm wrong from what I understand. Our debt service fell off on July 25, but last October, this is the story I'm being told. Take it for a grain of salt. This is how it was explained to me. When this co-op went to Duke and we buy electricity from a co-op at a wholesale rate, and then they turn around and they sell it to the 32 municipalities. We don't produce power, we have to buy it. And just like the town doesn't produce anything. When we buy water from the county, we buy water from Dunn. Whenever they increase rates, we have to pass out increase on to the homeowners. So what happened COVID happened. That's what they told me. They went as a co-op and they bought power based on what everybody does. They budget based on what they spent last year and last year and last year. And what happened in 2021 or 2022 after COVID, y'all know as well as I did, everybody quit going to work and everybody stayed home. Years ago on this board, we talked about peak hours. I don't know if y'all remember that. We did the load management system that worked out and it didn't work out, but the peak hours for electricity usage for the town was in the morning and in the evening. And so we could save money during the middle of the day and save rates, and that's how we kept your rate down. And back in 2015 and 2016, we gave a rate reduction that brought you in within 10% of what Duke Energy cost. We were within 10% in 2015 and 2016. We gave 2 reductions those years. That was before I got on the board. That was just when I was coming to meetings. So COVID happened, and in 2022, the co-op as a whole bought X amount kilowatts, whatever it is, of power. I'm not an engineer nor a power expert. And because everybody sat at home, the peaks were off. And we went over our allotment and per our contract with Duke. And so that Duke came back to Nakempa and said, hey, you went over your power, you've got to reimburse us for the extra power that you took. And that's why we got increased charges. And so what happened, and I asked this to go on your bill this way, and because I wanted to be transparent. So you've got 2 riders right now on your bill. You have a 2022 rider that came, and that was from year 2022. And what happened, Nakempa had to reimburse Duke for that money. They dispersed that reimbursement to each one of the 32 communities based on the power that we used, and they passed that cost on to the towns. And we obviously couldn't afford to eat it. And so we had to create that rider. That rider 22 was a 2-year, they financed it at 0% for 2 years. And in 2024, that 22 rider will go away. But then the next year it happened again, the same thing, because people still have not gone back to work in office buildings and everything like they used to. And so 2023, they hit us with another rider, and that was in April. That's a 2-year rider. That's the rider 23 on all of our electrical bills. That is a 2-year finance at 0% of us paying Duke back for the overage of that contract for Nakempa. You have a 24 rider coming for 2024. We just don't know what it's going to be yet. And what we're trying to negotiate with Nakempa right now, because we've got to pay it, we're under contract until 2035, is let's not hit people with the 24 rider until the 22 rider falls off, so that we don't continue to increase the cost of electricity. But that's where we're at with electricity right now. I'll be glad to answer any questions if y'all want to come up. But the fact of the matter is, we've tried. I've looked at the contract. When this was signed, before many of us, or before I was on this board, and we don't get out of it until 2035. So I certainly hope that whoever's sitting up here around 2030 or 2031 is talking to South River, who we've had discussions with, and is talking to Duke Energy to see if there is another option for them to come in here and take over our grid. But for the next 10 years, we're where we're at. And whatever they serve us on a plate is what we're going to have to figure out how to either eat part of it as a town, if we have a budget that can do so, or pass it on to the consumer. And so that's the best synopsis I can give you on power. Did I miss anything, Steve?
Yes, sir. The only thing that in order to be able to get out of it at 2035, you have to give notice in 2027. If you don't give notice in 2027, then the contract is actually till 2043. In order to be able to get out of it in 2035, you have to give notice 2 years from now in order to be able to do that. If you don't give the notice in 2027, then you're on the stick till 2043.
Don't we have some monies coming in though, and we're going to try to roll it over, or they're going to automatically take it 125 or 130,000, something like that, to help defer the cost of this?
We hope so.
Yes, sir.
A lot of it depends on what, and you know more about Nakempa than I do, because you sat on the board.
Yes, sir. You're correct, but what I was going to also say was that in terms of selling the system, if you give the system to anybody other than Duke, if you give it to the local co-op, they'll have to agree to the same deal that the town's in order to be able to do that. So it's not an easy thing to decide to basically get out of the electric business because of the contracts that have been signed again years ago.
our hope, or my hope is, because we all thought that our electrical grid was gonna be able to be cheaper, and we might be able to give another discount once we got done paying off our debt, which was July 2025. We didn't know about the riders until they came up last year. Our hope is that Nakempa is successful in renegotiating with Duke at a new rate, with a new contract, with obviously knowing that we all now need more power. And then maybe those riders go away in the next 2 to 4 years, and then we can renegotiate that. But it's an option. I know Mr. Jerry, bless his heart, he worked on this extensively, and I was there with him with a lot of it. I'm probably not as experienced as he was, and definitely don't have the contacts that he does, but it's something that we can look at. But at the end of the day, for the next 10 years, it is what it is. And I hate that, but just all of us up here pay the same utility bills we do, that y'all do, right? So those of us that own a business here pay a higher rate. We won't talk about what my office buildings cost every month, right? So it's an unfortunate situation that was created a long, long time ago, and right now we're just having to eat the effects of that. Is the best way I know how to say that. So, but I will say, I am a happy person that when the power goes out here, that I can call Glencore on the cell phone, and most of the time it's on within 2 to 3 hours. Compared to when I lived on the country on my farm, and I waited hours or days on Duke Progress to come to get power back to my property. And that is worth more money to William. So it may not be worth more money to everybody. And I also say, I know we've had some outages, and Glenn put in his report. Y'all don't get to see the report. The 3 of the outages that we had last month were because Duke had an outage, and they feed us. So when Duke has an outage, that is not any part of our system at all. That is just the fact that Duke had an outage on the feeder line to us, and that is the reason we lost power, not because of our system.
You also have one additional benefit, and that benefit is that a third of the salaries in the general fund are picked up by the electric fund. If the electric system wasn't here, then the general fund would have to pick up pick up 2/3 of the salary. So there is that piece of it. Yes, sir.
And if I can add, just in respect to riders, since that is a general part of the conversation, just right now, the latest update, Duke has 10 riders on their bill for residential customers that equate to $1.95 per kilowatt hour increase on their residential rate. So at a 900 kilowatt hour month, which is what some of us are seeing in the summer, it's an additional $17.55. It doesn't seem like that much, but that puts their base rate at $31.55, and the town's is at $29.70. So even there, based on the riders we have and the riders that Duke has on their current bills, we are still lower than the full Duke bills on residential right now.
I would like to suggest to the board, and that is that it's a complicated matter, and we could include that discussion in the budget preparation calendar that we've got in front of us, and we can bring some additional information from the Nakempa. Okay.
That would be great.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
State your name and address.
Wanda Little, Kennedy Circle. I have come to many meetings here complaining about the water lines, the drainage system on Kennedy Circle off of Chicopee Road. And since they built that warehouse across the street over there on the Chicopee property, it has gotten worse. The water floods our street halfway down into the cul-de-sac, and mud and everything. And we've been here, the members off of our street, to ask about somebody coming out, look at those water lines or those pipes or whatever they need to do, why we can't get something done about that, because it's been like this for years. We've been down here many times complaining about the water backing up on Kennedy Circle.
We'll be glad I'll make sure that we go out and take a look at it and give a report on it.
Okay, because like I said, we've been here, and every time we come, that's what we hear. We're going to get somebody out there and look at it. It's been years.
Yes, ma'am, we're going to look into it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, I'm Debbie Clifton, Colonnade Court, Benson. 109 Yeah, Roby's wife. Roby and I have been like sticklers for recycling. So when I came in walking the other day, I was behind the trash truck, and the recycle truck was picking up the recycling and my yard waste and mixing it up. And I was devastated because, of putting all that together after we, recycle. So I started asking some of the neighbors, and of course they said they've been doing that for months. So why are we getting charged $5.75 for recycle when they're not recycling?
I'll try that one.
You gonna try that one?
My understanding, and y'all help me if I'm wrong, but they say they separate it out, back out when they get it to their place. Is that what you heard?
I doubt that.
I know, I doubt it too.
I can
doubt that.
I can say this, I don't know if y'all remember or not, we've been under, was it a 3 or 5 year contract?
Well, originally it was 5 and then it renewed. It ends this year.
It ends this year. So we've had a lot of complaints about the trash company that we've been under contract with for at least 5 years, if not longer. I don't know.
Yeah, it's close to 10 total.
Close to 10 years, things like that. So that is being changed. We have hired a new company. I don't know if y'all remember, we took out 2 surveys that went out via Facebook and in the letter asking you what you wanted, because I was one of the. I feel like we're double taxed on trash anyway, because we don't get a reduction on our county taxes that we all pay, because then we pay for their convenience sites too, right? So you can go to the convenience site. I know everybody wants to. So I was hopeful that we could reduce our trash costs in town by people having free access to that, because we pay both. So we pay tax to the county for trash, and then you pay a utility bill to the town of Benson. But we sent out 2 surveys. The majority of the people responded to those surveys, and they responded that they all wanted the same 3 services. They wanted trash, they wanted recycling, and they wanted yard waste. So that is what we kept in the new contract, but you are getting a new vendor come January 1st. And I don't know who's going to work out all the logistics. I'm assuming Jeremy or whoever at Public Works. But we went with a new vendor. It's called Carolina Trash out of Anger. They were the cheapest vendor. They were less expensive than what we were currently paying. And I don't know, that may adjust your trash rates coming through. But between now and January 1st, I expect that somebody's going to come through town and pick up all of the current yard carts, and you're going to get all new yard carts for the new vendor by January the 1st.
Tell me for a fact they're recycling.
I cannot, because I put trash in my recycling because I know it goes in the same truck, and it's cheaper for me to put it in that recycling bin than it is for me to pay an additional $15 for a new cart. That's what William does, because I don't care about recycling. That's my opinion. So, but if that's important to you, then I suggest, they said they're going to recycle.
If we choose 2 trash cans, we can do that?
If they put it in the same, they never stop me. If they put it in the same truck, I just put, because I've got a lot of kids.
Pay for the 3rd one?
No, you're gonna get charged for 3 carts just like you do now. You're gonna get a trash can and a recycling cart and a yard cart. That's what you get now. You get a green one.
Yeah, I know, and they put the yard waste and the recycling together. So.
But the yard, I'll just say this, so if we were to take those 2 cans away and then you said I need an additional trash can, the recycling can is cheaper than a regular trash can.
I don't need another.
Well, I understand, but when you go into a contract with a municipality, it's all or none. And that's why we sent out the survey, and the majority of the residents said we want it. And so we can't individualize it and say 109 Colonnade's gonna get 1 can and 111 Colonnade's gonna get 3 cans.
But I know it costs a lot of money for recycling too.
Our,
recycling.
yeah, our entire contract is just shy of $700,000 for our trash contract every year, just to give you an idea of the expense of that. And so I was hopeful that y'all would all come back and say we wanted 1 can, and maybe we could cut that in half. But that's not the way the community responded at that point in time. So, because I have enough kids, I fill my carts, and most of the time I still go to South Johnston about once every other week with their trash. But that's where we are. I'm hoping the new vendor, it is a local vendor, a family vendor. They came in, they were really nice. They sat here at meetings for a long time. I'm hopeful from things that I've heard that they're going to be a better service provider than what we've had. But we won't know until we get them. That's the best way I know how to say it.
Debbie, I'm like you. I've got 3 carts. I recycle. I have yard waste every 2 weeks. Recycle every week is garbage, and I'm retired. I stand out there and watch them, and they're not putting mine in the same one. Maybe they're doing it just at Colonnade and coming up the next block. Yeah.
They've been doing it in Colonnade for months.
Well, I'm not saying when I'm not out there, they're not doing it.
This has come up before. I don't know exactly, but I believe Mr. Dart brought it up some years ago. It's been several years ago.
Yeah.
Witnessed the same thing, and they'll point to their contract, the present contractor, and say, "Our contract requires us to take it away from you and get rid of it."
Yeah.
And that's all it requires. So if we dump it all in the same thing, I think generally when we brought this up with them, I think at least twice that I recall, they said, "No, we don't do that. We generally don't do that." Well, yeah, we kind of do it some, but only when I guess there's like maybe you're on a route that truck is almost full, and they make a judgment call and say we're just going to dump it all in one thing, and then they separate it back out, or whether they do or they don't, who knows? But this has come up, and that's the response you get is our job's just to get rid of it for you.
But in 4 months, 5 months, we'll be with the new
We'll
contract.
be with a new vendor, and I would say if you have concerns after a month or two with the new vendor, bring them to us and we'll address them with the new vendor. But we've not had a whole lot of luck addressing any issues with our current vendor, I'll put it that way.
Anybody else?
I want to know, what is stormwater?
What is stormwater?
What's the charge for stormwater? I mean, are we supposed to put an umbrella over our house?
Come
Can you come up here?
Come on up.
I can.
Please.
Yes, sir, I can.
Sylvia Alford, and I want to know what stormwater charge is. We got to put an umbrella over our house to keep the water from falling on our yard?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
What's that for?
The town has, just like every other town, has underground stormwater lines that collect the stormwater, just like when you flush your toilet, it goes to a sewer line. The stormwater, the water that runs off property, the water that runs off the street, and any stormwater that when it rains, you see the catch basins along the street. It collects all the water that goes into the stormwater pipes. That stormwater pipe is maintained just like the sewer pipes are. The town has to replace them when they break. The town has to put in new ones, like you just saw one of the projects. We're putting in new stormwater. And so that fee is just like when you pay your sewer fee. It's taking care of the maintenance and the cost of maintenance of those stormwater lines.
Well, now, I've been down there on my residence, for over 30 years. I ain't seen the town down there. And by the way, I'm in the county. I am. Y'all zoned around me. Everybody else down there is in the city limits. I'm in the county. So I pay a higher rate than anybody else. Then I got to pay for stormwater.
The purpose for the stormwater fee, as I've said, is the same as the sewer fee. There are pipes under the ground that have to be maintained so that the stormwater can be captured and it flow away just like the sewer does. I will tell you that the stormwater fee is a normal standard fee throughout the state of North Carolina that you pay that stormwater fee. If we weren't using a stormwater fee, you'd have to use property tax dollars to maintain what is essentially under the ground to replace all the stormwater in Benson. We're talking about millions of dollars if you had to do that. The stormwater fee helps to generate dollars to maintain it, just like
And
the
they
sewer
don't
lines.
maintain the sewage. Because every time it rains, my sewage back up.
I'll be glad to, I tell you what, I'd be glad to talk with you about it and take a closer look at it if you would like. Just get in touch with my office.
And who are you?
My name is Steve Harrell. I'm the interim town manager, and I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you about it.
And every time I call, the secretary gonna say, well, he's out of the office right now.
No, ma'am. You can call me. My cell phone number is 910-470-9984. I'll be happy to talk with you about
Okay.
it.
I will be calling you tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Steve, won't you be out of the office tomorrow?
I have my cell phone with me, though.
Okay, all right.
I will be at a conference tomorrow that they asked me to be a speaker back before I ever came
I
to
just
Benson.
didn't want her disappointed.
I will be
Okay.
back in the office at 2:00 tomorrow, but tomorrow morning I'll be in South Carolina at a conference where I'm a panel speaker. I was asked to do that back in early May.
Yeah.
But I have my cell phone with me at all times, so please be free to call me. 910-470-9984, and my name is Steve Harrell.
Anybody else? Okay. One more time, anybody? Okay. Hey, come up here.
Just state your name and address for the record.
Eric Bowles, 101 Wilmot. About the trash, you were saying y'all job is just to make sure that they just pick up the trash and do what they want to it. But that young lady, we pay for recycling. And ain't no such thing, they breaching contract if they mixing recycle with trash, because that's illegal. I know about it because I ran it for years. Now, if they doing that stuff, somebody need to call the company and let them know what's going on, because they should have a recycle truck, a trash truck, and a cardboard truck come out to get that stuff. So that's not true what you just said. My thing is, don't just push her off like that and say, well, we just to get it away from your house. That's not true. She paying for it. So somebody needs to straighten that out. Call GFL, ask for the general manager, and you'll get the correct answer. Because I ran it for 18 years.
Anybody else?
My name is Casey Hall, 214 West Church Street. I honestly wasn't going to talk about trash or recycling, but what Miss Deb said is actually true. I've grown up here my entire life. I've been back since 2018, and that has been what I've witnessed nearly every single trash day. So this is an ongoing issue. You can reach out to the company. It's your responsibility. Speaking of responsibility, it's also your responsibility to make sure you're running this town with fiscal responsibility. And it is your responsibility to take accountability when that doesn't happen.
I agree to that.
I sat and watched the special meeting last week. There were 2 commissioners on this board who repeatedly spoke up during that meeting. Commissioner Neighbors, Commissioner Chandler. You were about the only 2 that spoke up. Although you spoke up, no one took accountability for anything. So understand that it is your responsibility to take accountability. It's your responsibility to communicate with us, and it's your responsibility to make sure you're handling our money appropriately.
Absolutely.
There's a few things that we're going over tonight. As far as benefits for employees, I've been employed with local government for going on 16 years now. I work in Wake County. I'm an EMS supervisor in Wake County. I have really good benefits working for my employer. Some of the benefits that were just mentioned tonight are absolutely absurd. I work for a county who provides some of the best employee benefits probably in this state. But paying $400 stipend for someone who declines health insurance when your health insurance is only $25 a month, why are we paying $400 to an employee who declines health insurance? It needs to be cut out. That's not a benefit. You should not be paying someone $400 a month to decline health insurance. They either want it for $25 a month or they don't want it. That's how it goes. 401k at 5%. In Wake County, we do, it is that, right? 5% regardless. It's okay for employees to have some accountability in their retirement. It's okay to match at 5%. You don't have to just put in 5%. You can match at 5%. You'll still be competitive. Longevity pay, that's been gone long ago. Like, longevity pay that's a thing of the past. That little bit of money, and then 1 to 4 years, you're paying someone 1 to 4 years, 5 to 10 years. Like, if you're going to do longevity pay, 20 plus, do it there, but like all the rest can be cut out. Annual physicals, you're paying people $100 a year for annual physicals. You should probably look into the life insurance policies and the accidental death and dismemberment benefits that you pay into, because those employees, you could probably get those paid through that benefit versus it coming directly out of the town's benefit. I get $300 a year to get my physical. Do you think Wake County pays for it? Pays me $300 a year? No. I pay the benefit, and then Aflac pays me. Y'all use Lincoln. Who did you say you use? Lincoln Financial. So I would look into that. EAP. As I mentioned, I've been in EMS for going on 16 years now. We have EAP. Actually, we use my group in Wake County. Do you think we have an EAP and a separate first responder EAP? And is that costing you more money? If it is, cut it out. You don't need a separate first responder EAP. And I'm going to tell you why. That's because North Carolina has something called the North Carolina Responder Assistance Initiative, NCRA, that is free for all first responders in the state of North Carolina. All first responders, all correctional officers in the state of North Carolina. So if you're paying an extra service for first responder EAP, then you're getting gypped and you don't need to be paying it. Let's be real. No one ever turned to an employee assistance program when they're contemplating suicide or when they've had a bad call. First responders have better and stronger resources today. So if you're paying extra, you need to look at that. There's also the thing called NC LEAP, the North Carolina Law Enforcement Assistance Program. Covers all first responders. When they first started, they just covered law enforcement. Now they cover every first responder discipline from law enforcement, fire to EMS. They also provide peer support services. They provide clinician services free of charge for first responders. So that's something to look at. The last thing is town vehicles. I understand you get a stipend. That is fine. I've heard of that from before. My father-in-law is an assistant town manager as well. He gets a monthly vehicle stipend. It's not out of the ordinary. However, town vehicles that are provided to employees should not be driven for personal use. I should not see a town vehicle, whether it be an unmarked vehicle, a fire vehicle, a police vehicle, I should not see that anywhere outside of a mutual aid district within this town, unless they're there on personal business. On town business. If they're there on personal business, I should not see that vehicle there. I shouldn't see any unmarked town vehicle, any fire department town vehicle or police town vehicle anywhere outside of the mutual aid districts, which typically is the next town over. So Dunn, Four Oaks, Coates, there should be really no reason unless they're there on town business, right? I understand there are meetings, there are things like that they may have to go to once in a while. So those are some things to look into. All I ask is that you show accountability for what has been going on. Everyone sitting at this table here has that responsibility. And look into these things to help us save money and kind of revamp the town and the finances of the town. Also, athletic shoes, that's kind of absurd, y'all. Kind of absurd. $20 a month for gym membership, I'm good with. $100 for athletic shoes, you got to buy your own. Okay? Thank you.
Anybody else? We're gonna wrap up the public comment section and then go on to the agenda.
Next item. Yes, sir. The next item is Market Street alley paving, and our assistant town manager will handle that. And you want to go up front? Okay, thanks.
Good evening, everyone. So this, I'll wait till I get over here. Good evening. So we know the Market Street alley and the paving has been on the agenda on and off for quite some time. So the last meeting, we had a request to go back and see if we could patch it as opposed to doing the entire alley for paving. We did reach out. We were able to get a quote for $9,500. What that's going to include is a dig out and patch at 2.5-inch depth. It's generally going to be a 4-foot swath down the alley where the water line was put. It's got 8 meter boxes and another 10 by 15 spot, but it's going to be $9,500. And again, that is just going to be a dig out, scrape, and patch at 2.5 inches only on the main spots where the water line were laid and where the taps were put.
And that would come out of the water sewer fund, which is in the positive, and it would at least get rid of the, because right now it's washing out and we're having to go back and fix it every time it washes out. So we would recommend that the $9,500 is a good investment because it patches it and prevents us from constantly having to maintain it.
Did I read in the report it was gonna be cold patch?
No, this will be Gaither coming in and doing hot patch.
I read that too.
Cold patch?
It said cold patch.
That's what I thought it said.
Where?
Has this been
Yeah.
patched
It was in the
before?
report.
It's in the report. It says cold patch.
Yep.
It gives you from Market Street to Railroad. Just a patch where we put the water line down.
Right, hot patch.
So,
It said cold patch, so in the report that I.
I apologize.
Okay.
Kayla, has this been patched before?
No.
Is this gonna be?
No, this hasn't. Well, this cut hasn't been patched before because this is for the new water line. Has the alley itself been patched
Right.
before? I can assume yes, but the answer I'm getting is also probably.
That is my concern because that's the complaints on that alley.
Right.
So do they know how long this patch is gonna last? And is there, if we patch it, is there a way that we could put some type of sign, no trucks? Because that's not gonna last if all the heavy trucks are going through there.
No.
Patch it, it should be fine.
Yeah, the hot patch should be fine, but again, I think what you're alluding to is if you hot patch a newly paved road, it's gonna have a better substance to hold on to, whereas the parts of the alley that are older, the asphalt's not in as good a condition, it's more likely to deteriorate and crumble anyway, so even if they put a really nice hot patch on, they're still putting it on a surface or adjoining surfaces that might not be the best quality. So again, this is just speculation. I can assume it's not going to hold as well, say if we hot patch the middle of a new street.
And also in June, we looked at a patching from building to building all the way down. Not patching, they were gonna pave it. And I think the cost was $63,000.
The last.
And we put it on hold
Correct.
until we got a handle on what we were looking at up here.
The last quote was $46,000.
46.
I thought it was close to 50.
It was $46,000. I was trying to provide the board with an alternative to spending that $46,000. One of the things we could do is we could sign it that, no trucks. So that would, and then all you would have is just the vehicles coming in, coming behind it. But I was trying to provide you with an alternative that would be a good patch, a hot patch, and not have to resurface it at $46,000, given where our current circumstances. But if you'd like to bring it back next week, we can bring it back with further consideration.
Well, if we could just get the signage up for one about the trucks, I think that would help if we can't,
Yeah, and we can most certainly put the signage on the Market Street side as well, but I will say behind the ABC store, that part on the way out, there will of course be trucks coming in and out of there because that's where they're gonna load. But the rest of the parking lot, yes, we can sign all the way back down.
If the board would like us to do that, we can do so. Okay. All right. So we're, I would need a motion to be able to do the $9,500, Mr. Mayor.
I make that motion that we do the 95 attached.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Next is the memorandum of understanding for the regional water system collaboration. And this is what came from yourself, right, from our.
Yeah, this is the one that you had brought forward, Mr. Mayor, you weren't here at the last meeting, so we tabled it till tonight.
All right, good deal. So this is a deal where they're just trying to figure out what we can do to regionalize the water and sewer. And of course, we have a competing deal with Dunn and Florence, the same thing. But it's cost us no money. It's just saying that we are kind of for it.
The way I read it, there was no obligations of any
There's no
type. It's just a
obligations.
study, and us being willing to participate in the study, right?
That's it.
That's exactly right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Good. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Is that I guess it is. All in favor? Okay, I think it carries.
I go along with this.
I agree. Good deal. Yeah, there's no cost. Johnston County interlocal agreement for fire protection service at Allen.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. What I have before you tonight is kind of what I come up here annually. So it used to be biannually, but now for the last couple of years, it's annually. It's the contract between the fire department and the county. I know you had all the documents in your packet. There's several of them, either the mayor and town clerk has to sign, or either myself, but at least, I mean, I know I looked over them. The biggest one is the first one, the interlocal agreement. Other than changing the dates on it, the only other thing that changed within that agreement is the 12 monthly payments versus the way they used to pay whenever taxes come in. With the fire department and the changes that we're going to do in the county, that they wanted to go to 12 equal monthly payments instead of, like I say, the traditional way that it's been. So with that said, I know this is a work session, but due to time restraints or whatever, if we could get a motion to approve that tonight, so I can go ahead and get it turned into the county since it's already in starting. So.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor from
I
Mr.
make
Camp.
that motion, we approve the 12-month equal payment.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. Go ahead, Al.
You had it, but you dropped it back. There you go.
Okay. All right. So next on the list is just a quick PowerPoint. I presented this to interim manager Steve and Kayla, and HR is going from our traditional 24/7 shift schedule to the 4896 schedule. They approved it. Mr. Steve just wanted me to present it to y'all just so you can see. As the guys working will be changing the regular shift schedule.
And there's not a cost impact.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's in here. So the 4896 schedule is a modification to the current schedule that we currently use. It requires each shift to work the exact same number of days per year. Shifts would work 2 consecutive days, 24-hour shifts, followed by 96 hours off. That's the current schedule. Just the way it looks is a setup, and then the 4896 is work 2 days and then all 4 days, and just keeps rotating. That's the calendar on the left is a traditional what we've worked for the last many years, and then the one on the right is just what it looks like. Again, you work 2 days, you're off 4 days. You work 2 days on, you're off 4 days. Why switch to this cycle? A boost in morale. We had 100% participation. The guys wanting to do it. increased breaks. Hiring advantage is something new, and there's 4 or 5 other departments in the county that's gone to it. More consistent schedule. Again, you come in, you work, you're off 4 days. You come in, you work for 2, then you're off 4 days. Unlike work a day, off a day, work a day, off a day. Less commute to work for employees. So instead of coming, you know, everybody works 121, 122 days a year, so you cut that in half. I think the next slide will show that too. Employees will have more time at home and more weekends off under this schedule. This here is just a breakdown of the current schedule and then the new schedule with a percentage difference. Again, they get a little more time at home, they get more weekends off, but they work the exact same number of days in a year's time. Who's on board with this schedule? Again, all 6 current employees, they all were for it, wanted to try it. All the admin at the fire station, interim manager, human resource. Again, no extra cost, so that's obviously a plus. When to start, we chose to start it this coming up Monday, which is going to be the first day of our next 28-day cycle, the way we do business and run at the fire station. So that'll be, again, this coming Monday, August the 18th. And that's all I got. Got any questions about it?
You don't need a motion for this, right?
No, sir. I mean, like I say, Mr. Steve and HR, approved it under what it is, so just letting y'all
No
know.
additional cost, and it does all the benefit that the chief said. Okay.
Next.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Al. Next, workers' comp settlement.
Getting late, I'll be real quick. Town, you can see in the agenda item memo, the town charter requires the board to approve pretty much any settlement, even for $1. We had a workers' comp claim. The town's exposure and settlement really is $50 for the drafting of the settlement agreement by the representative from our workers' comp carrier key risk. I would love to just give that to Angie, or Scott could run it down and have the mayor sign it, but because the way the charter reads, you're supposed to approve that. There's nothing further in your packet about it, because the settlement agreement and all the other documents will be a part of that employee's personnel file, and those are confidential under General Statute 168. So I just need the board to approve that, direct the mayor to sign the settlement agreements.
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the 50.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Is that Commissioner Chandler made the motion?
Yeah.
I think the next was me too. I think we've talked about this before, and you can see from the cover, essentially, and Tyler's here, right? He's way back there in the back, manning his computer thing. So essentially, Tyler, or his department, I think pretty much him personally, has been heading up the North Carolina Main Street program. This would delegate Main Street program operations to Elevate Benson, North Carolina nonprofit, recently set up. I think a lot of the individuals that are going to be running Elevate Benson have already been involved with Main Street. I think this gives Tyler some community involvement and synergies with members of the community, so that he's going to still be involved. We'll have an ex officio membership on that nonprofit board, and the town will still be the conduit for the Main Street grants and operation of the project. Well, not complete operation of it, they'll operate it, but the town will still have oversight with that. So I guess this really just streamlines things for him and gives us some opportunities, right?
Yeah, it just makes Elevate an official Main Street board with a board chair, secretary, et cetera. And before that, we just had a committee, so this makes it a lot more official, and it's just better in the eyes of Main Street, essentially, to have this.
I will add that the use of a nonprofit for the Main Street program is also something that's done well throughout North Carolina.
I did do a little digging to draft the MOU and the motion or the resolution, and it seems like there are a few that do it in-house like we've been doing it. Normally they haven't been doing it as long, and then once they get sort of speed with it. They know exactly what we're
Yeah,
doing.
Main Street provided a lot of the structure that we needed for this, anyway, so they approve it.
Yeah, I think they wanted us to do that.
Yeah, they wanted it, yeah, essentially.
Motion.
I make motion to approve.
Okay, so, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Carried.
Thank you.
And the last one is Jay Murray, consider approval of awarding the contract to the state utility contractors for Phase 1 of the wastewater treatment plant upgrade. And I'll let him explain the paperwork we handed out tonight.
Yeah, good evening. I alluded to this project earlier. I have given you one form that has green little highlights on. What those represent are the items, the contractor, when they bid the project, they bid it per unit on different parts of the project and applied monies to each one of those. The first one would be the influent pump station and discharge force main. This is when the sewage and stormwater come into the town. They go through headworks and they'll come into this influent pump station. It's vital for anything that we do further in the plant, so we desperately need that one. Item number three is the MBR system tank structure and equipment pads. That's the big, large concrete structure setting out the big field for where the membrane systems will go. We will need that, so that's another $7 million. And the number 5, the drain, wasp, pump station, and discharge force main. This is the pumps and everything that will sit outside the MBR system tank structure. This will let the contractor installing this tank structure know exactly where the piping needs to go for all the pipes and for all the pumps. And we can drain, he can do the testing on the tank itself, and if we ever have to drain it, because it is an open structure, we can do so at that time. And lastly, there's a line item down there for $50,000. That's for undercut and backfill material. We included that as part of the contractor's contract because there may be an instance where we need it. If we don't use it, then we get $50,000 back. Whereas those for the contractor itself, the total will end up to be $17,024,000. And State Utility Contractors was the lowest bidder and the only bidder on the project. We did original bid, received one bid, we resubmitted for an additional 7 days, and they were still the only contractor to bid project. So I'm looking for tonight a resolution to go ahead and tentatively award the contract to State Utility Contractors. And this time is of the essence on this project, so the faster I can get this done, the better off we all are.
Jay, was there any reason we didn't get but one bid?
Everybody's busy. This is ARPA money. All contractors up and down the eastern seaboard and across the United States right now are on contracts trying to finish ARPA money. ARPA monies go away December 31st, 2026, and they're no longer available. So you got to spend the money or you're going to turn back into the government. My understanding, Wooten told me that there were 7 plan holders on this project that picked up the plans and wanted to bid it. And they were going to work up a bid to the project, but they never showed up.
Jay, are we going to have any liability? I mean, obviously, we know we got the money to do a portion of the project because obviously the $23 million that we were given by the state is not going to cover all the construction costs out there, right?
That's correct.
So if we don't complete the contract in full or the construction in full, the ARPA money is still going to cover these projects. So the state's not going to come and look at us in of next year or 2 years when this is complete and say, hey, you didn't complete the project in final, so we're not going to give you.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. And the monies for this contractor, your state utility contractors, and for the Wooten Company for their engineering and site services programs is all will be covered under the ARPA money remaining.
I make a motion, we move forward with it.
We have a motion. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? I carry it. So there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I know we're at the end, but it's one thing that I would like to make sure I'm clear, because it sounds like that's what you would like to do, to follow the budget preparation calendar. And how does the September 6th Saturday look with everybody for the day-long work session?
Good for me.
Yep.
Okay, all right, then we'll follow the calendar, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Any Anything else? Anybody have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to address the young man in the back. I sit here on this board because I take it very serious. I understand exactly what you're saying, and I want you to know what has happened. I am very disappointed in myself. I did not know, we did not know. So we are learning. So by me not saying anything does not mean I'm not thinking and planning, because I do have some plans in mind that I'm going to get with the town manager about. So you can rest assured that Maxine Holly is working. I might not talk a lot, but you can believe I'm working.
That's what I wanted to say.
I just want to say a few things, just to answer a couple of questions. And I saw that Amazingly didn't come up tonight. I hope you all understand that we didn't go broke, that the town has been poor for a very long time. And there has been a lot of unbudgeted expenditures that brought this to light recently. And expenditures, and everybody says this should be run like a business. Well, I grew a multi-million-dollar company from scratch. I know how to run a business. But you have people involved in government. And I'm just going to say a couple of projects that I know that are very important and near-hearted that took a lot of money out of our account over the past few years because the people wanted it. And that is the roof on this building blew off, and insurance didn't cover it. And we had to pay over $100,000 to get it fixed. That is the Civic Center, the flooded, insurance didn't cover it. We had to spend a lot of money, and it had asbestos, which meant even more money to try to bring the Civic Center back up to speed. That was unbudgeted funds that this board made a decision to spend to do that. Everybody loves the circle. And no, this board had absolutely nothing to do with that circle being built here. Because we voted to send a resolution to NCDOT to tell them, please don't bring the circle. That was led by Commissioner Chandler. And the circle's here. And we can say, well, the circle doesn't have any money in it. Would it be full transparency? That's not true either. Because when they were doing construction, a water line broke on 301. And you remember it was supposed to be done in 4 weeks, but it took 8 weeks. So we had to replace a water line from Parish Drive all the way to Church Street that was unbudgeted because of the construction of the circle. And NCDOT or North, they said, absolutely not, we're not reimbursing you, that's water line. How do we know it wasn't leaking before we started? Plus, all of the streets are in horrible condition. A lot of the condition because of the truck detour that happened because of the circle, and the state has refused to give us any money to refund those repairs. I want y'all to remember that every year, y'all don't watch, you may not watch the budget meetings. Y'all may be here because of this one special meeting, but every year we look at these costs as a board and we say, how do we save money without cutting services? Because in essence, we are a nonprofit. Because we are break even every year, which is the dumbest business decision I've ever heard of. But this year, hopefully, everybody go home and pay your taxes tonight. The bill came out, and they're more. I know they're more because we didn't reduce your rate, right? My house tax was probably $600 or $700 more than what it was last year. It is what it is. But for the first time since I've sat on this board, we've got $300 and something thousand in contingency that I hope, and I think this board hopes, that we can put in a bank account for those rainy day items that come up, or either start paying for all the things like Vias Park and those ball fields that went $800,000 over budget. We have to pay the town back for that, and we are just getting started to doing that. But the Main Street, when Main Street was repaved, they came through 4 or 5 years ago. They said we need you to get your water lines and sewer lines out from underneath our road, and so this town had to spend a year in unbudgeted funds removing water and sewer lines out from under Main Street to put them in the alleys behind all of our buildings. All of that stuff was unbudgeted and over budget. And so I ask you, and I ask you nicely, and I hope you come to more meetings. I'm very excited that hopefully people are going to get involved because nobody signed up to run against us last month. I waited till the last day I was in town. I know Will waited till the last minute because I've been up here 8 years, and some nights I would whole much rather be sitting at home with my 2 girls than I had sitting up here. We're not perfect. We're learning. But when you come to us with problems and say, why don't you fix this, it's not because we have this bottomless pot of money. I know there's questions about salaries, and I will tell you, I will battle for these employees. I worry more about the 27 to 30% turnover rate that we have every year in employees than I do buying tennis shoes. But I've ridden a fire truck for 26 years full time. I get $150 in shoes every year and $3,500 of lifestyle money to do whatever I want to do. If I want to go buy golf clubs, It's what we use to incentivize employees to stay here. Our police cars, they get a 45-mile radius that they can drive their police cars home. So if there's an emergency in town, they don't have to come and report to duty and find a car. They can get here because we have 2 police officers here that work every night. 2. That's all we have. And that's because that's all we can afford, or that's because that's only the people that are willing to come to work for Benson. And most of our employees don't work for Benson to get rich. They work here because they love Benson, which is why all of us sit up here for basically free. And I will also say that they did get a raise this year. And Scott, when was the last time you got a raise? When was the last time town employees got a raise?
Last COLA was in July of 2022.
2022.
There was a pay study done in March of 23. That did not include a COLA, so there was no COLA since July of 2022.
So that 0 to 15% scale that we approved, that they got based on years of service, was divided over the past 3 or 4 years without a raise. So if somebody got a 10% raise, that means they got a 2% raise per year, which is less than what Social Security got if you're on a fixed income. I know this, my mother's on Social Security. And so we do everything we can to be financially responsible, but we can't predict the unknown. We have the best library in Johnston County and the best museum in Johnston County, and Derek works his butt off as a director of both of them, and that's why he draws a big salary, or a bigger salary than the librarian in Selma, because he's a director over 2 departments. But understand, both of those things that sit on Main Street do not draw revenue. They don't draw a dime to pay for themselves, and we have to upkeep those buildings. We've got to upkeep this building that we occupy about 20% of. So there's discussions that are fixing to happen. There's a lot of benefits on this list that I was not aware of, I'll be honest with you. Apparently I don't spend enough time in town hall, okay? I'll be guilty of that. But I do take accountability for where we're at, but it's not happened this year. This has been going and ongoing for years. In 2015, Matt Zapp stood up here before I was on the board and said, we are going broke and we are losing money in electrical and water and sewer every year. And we did not, or whoever was on this board before me in 2015, we did not take the appropriate steps then to make sure we had the income to handle all of our obligations. So there's probably going to be property sold. I hope so. Benson is property poor, and we can't afford to maintain the property no more than we can afford to maintain our stormwater. And so we've got to come back to the board, and I'm going to ask y'all to be patient with us. And you're probably going to be part of some discussions to help us, because before that, in 2013, NC State came and they recommended getting a library and a museum off of Main Street and putting it in the L-shaped building where the kids are going to be when they're playing ball, so they could play ball and then go read a book. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because the museum board is going to scrutinize me tomorrow on Facebook, and probably the library board too. But somehow or another, we've got to get spending under control. We've got a dated infrastructure. We've got that dip that's in front of my house on Pine Street. If y'all don't know where I live, I'm in front of the dip. That's not a speed bump. That's because we don't have stormwater on that side of town, and if that dip wasn't there, my house would flood, because all of the water from downtown goes right down Parish Drive. That dip there is to curtail water from coming in my front door, because when they repaved the street, they didn't do it, and I could sit on my front porch with a fishing pole. And so we've got a lot of stuff to do and a lot of work to do. So a lot of the extras that this town sees for free, and a lot of events that this town sees for free, a lot of the charities that this town helps, is probably going to start to hurt a little bit, because we've got to back up and take government back to what we were responsible for, which in my opinion is services and public safety, and not all of the extras. So I hope y'all will work with us. I hope y'all will bear with us. At any point in time, if you want to take my place, all you got to do is come and we'll have a discussion, because I'm telling you, I've been here 8 years. Will's been here how long?
Too long.
Too long. How long? Too long. It's exhausting to come out here and do this every other week.
Y'all got to understand, our paycheck, you do this because you love a town. Don't get any money for it. You've got to enjoy what you're doing, and I don't enjoy it anymore. Now, don't come to just one meeting and judge us. If you would have hung around a little bit more, I said, this whole board is responsible for what has happened. It started way back, and we guaranteed we would stay on top of it, and we didn't. But if you would have come to 6 months, 12 months worth of meetings before, you would know that I did open my mouth. I wanted to see these figures, and I didn't get the figures. And nobody else, I felt like sitting on this board, asked the very same questions, because I needed somebody else to ask management about the figures. I didn't get them, so we're in a situation, but we all put ourselves in that situation. Okay, we're on top of this now, thanks to Steve, and he is very aware of what's going on. He started out here as town manager back in the 80s for 3 years. He retired during COVID. Since then, he's worked with how many different towns that some of them were in the same situation, and you know the people to bring in. We've had auditors come in, we've had everybody. There's not a single person that's made a dime off this whole deal. It was just, we took money that should have been held in one fund, and we used it in another fund to make these figures work, and we shouldn't have done that. But we didn't know that.
And we were doing it to cover the projects that I just stated. The projects that people lined up this door and read letters about how important that stage is over there and how important the senior citizen is over there. And that is the political part of this. But I'm going to leave tonight, and I hope you take this, because I'm a positive person. I try to be. And so I would say this is the best thing that's ever happened in this town. Because in 2023, we almost didn't make payroll. That's how bad it got, right? And so we figured it out in 2023. We'll figure it out then. But none of this would have come to light if one thing, and that was when our previous manager was tasked with doing our audit by June the 30th. And that audit didn't get submitted, and we all got an email from the state on July 1st about how we were in trouble. And so then we called in help. If y'all didn't take anything away from tonight that's positive, take this away. Because of that error, we just got accepted by the League of Municipalities, and they're paying for our audit, which is $30,000, and they're sending staff down here for the next 6 months to help train our staff and to work with us to get us out of this mess. And so everybody here has committed our time. I've been reading numbers for the past week. I haven't got any work done in my office, and I know they're the same way because we're all up here. And we're going to figure it out again, and I hope we're stronger because of it when we get done. And nothing that has been done as far as auditing or taxes or the staff coming is going to be paid from the town of that Benson pocket because Steve got us in that program, and the state's going to cover that for us to get us back right.
And if y'all listen to the figures that were thrown out here tonight, they were not just thrown out. We're looking at $15 million that in projects that we've got out on the table, and that's where a lot of our money was. Engineer costs, these projects would not pay our engineers, and we've got $500,000 and $600,000 in engineer costs that we were trying to pay out of our budget. This money, once you put a pipe in the ground, these grants start giving us money back for the engineer cost and what we're doing. We're not broke at some point in time. We're going to have this stuff paid for, and nobody on this board is going to be any richer. And I will tell you that William was talking about what he gets off the fire department. William's not on the Benson Fire Department. I can tell you. He's on the city of Cary. Okay, they pay those. These boys sitting right here that's been on for 35 and 40 years. I've been on for 50 years. They ain't never bought me a pair of tennis shoes or anything else, I don't think. But look, I just want to invite y'all to come back. It's great to see people that is concerned about what's going on. And if you come every week and talk, or every meeting and talk about the same thing, eventually something will be done to your area. Whether you like it or not, we will do something. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Didn't mean to say.
I would like to say that, and I have been on this board for a while, and there's nobody on this board that doesn't have Benson in their best interest.
That's it.
Being an elected official of times we spend a lot of hours here on behalf of the town that you guys are probably not even aware of. I've been sitting in meetings sometime, we don't go home till close to midnight, but y'all don't know that. But you can rest assured that we do have a great interim manager now that has brought in a lot of resources that has helped us. And I think moving forward, I think Benson's going to be in a better place. It's unfortunate that we are in this situation, but had we not been, it could have gotten worse over a period of time. And we get the same electricity bills that you all get. We don't get any breaks. Commissioners don't get raises. We don't get benefits. Like I said, it is a thankless position. And I love serving others. I don't do this for money. I mean, we get a stipend, but there's nothing that you can live on. And I've been in Benson all of my life. I love this town, and I love the people here. And I do want to see what's best for Benson. Now, my term is up in 2 years, and I'm hoping that at some point that the next board that comes, well, November, I hope in the future that we don't leave a mess for the next boards that's coming on, because it's not fair. But as far as commissioners pocketing the money, all these different things I read on Facebook, a lot of that stuff is just absurd. We don't take money from the citizens, and we don't even have access to checkbooks or writing, checks to ourselves. And I'm glad we're getting an audit, so maybe that can relieve some of the concerns that the citizens have. And it's not just your tax money, it's ours too. So anything that we do that you feel like is against you, it's the same for us. Nothing is different. But like I said, moving forward, I believe that we're going to be in a good space. I really appreciate Mr. Harrell, because had we not gotten him at this time, like I said, it's no telling where we would be. And because of his experience, that has got us moving forward. I'm glad we got an audit, because when I first got that email, I'm like, what is this about what was going on? Because my background is not in accounting. And so whatever's presented to us from the leadership, we basically go on the numbers that we see here. So any decision that we've made is based on what has been presented to us in the budget. So moving forward, I hope that we can see you all in more meetings. Even if you can't be here, just tune in like I know some of the community has. But rest assured, we do have Benson's best interest. And if there's anything, any concerns that you have, you all can reach out to us. Don't just do it on Facebook, but all of our numbers are listed on the town website. We get calls all the time, but I've gotten some calls about the concerns with what's going on, but not a lot. I see more things on Facebook than the calls that I receive, but rest assured that we are working hard to make sure that this is turned around, and we have great leadership now. We have a good finance director, we have an assistant town manager, great HR person. All of these guys are working, and girls are working together to correct the problems. And the roads here are not the best. There's a lot of things in the neighborhoods that need to be done. The water in Kennedy Circle, I grew up there, and it's not that the town has not been there, because Mr. Harrell, I want you to go back and look at some notes that someone has been out there. But make sure that you do call the resident concerning that. But that's been an ongoing issue out there. It's a lot of history behind it, but I'm sure if you dig in some of the records, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But we're not neglecting this town at all. So if you all can just give us some grace and work with us, and I'm sure that in the future you all will see a change. Thank you. You said enough. And I normally don't talk a lot, but I do have a lot of ideas, so.
I just wanted to say that, God loves Benson, and God sent Steve here, because Steve has done a great job. The staff has worked really hard over the weekend, and they've got to work these numbers together and work this plan to get us out of this hole. I'll tell you all what, you might not, we've got this, we've got to make sure we got the money going to the right place, but another thing we do not have is a fund balance. And where there's an unrestricted fund balance means cash. Our fund balance in past has been land and pipes and stuff like that. That's a bunch of crap. You know, you can't pay nobody with no land, can't pay nobody with pipes. So we gotta work hard to raise money and figure out ways to take care of this, because, you know, I just found out we were hoping to get 1.5 million in fund balance. That's what we were supposed to have, we thought. Well, I've heard that it's 20%. Well, our budget's 20 million. So 20% of 20 million is 4 million. So a fund balance of $4 million, that's what we need to put in the bank to be safe and to adhere to what North Carolina tells us to do. So, you know, I'll tell you this too. I don't know. I'm the interim mayor, and I feel most responsible because the buck stops with me. But and I've done a poor job. But we're going to do a lot. But we're going to do the best we can to do better than this. But anything that I'm just I'm sorry it's worked out this way. But again, I hope that we can take this moment and go forward and turn this around the way it ought to be. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
All in favor? Return.